And we welcome you to the 2025 Under-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. It's the gold medal match featuring Montreal wearing the red uniforms with a record of 3-0-1, taking on Paris with a record of 3-0-1, donning the white jerseys on this Tuesday in the middle of July. Glad you're with us. Matthew Hatfield here with you alongside a partner in Brent Underwood, the 2024 Patriot League goalkeeper of the year. Good to have you aboard.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, Matt. Glad to have you as my partner.
And it's an exciting time here as we have the Nexus extravaganza of field hockey action from the best in the country. Killa Hobbs, our producer engineer extraordinaire today, along with Jack Lowe. Ready to fit for us as we reach you on this Tuesday where both teams have yet to suffer a blemish, friend, but one draw each, and there's a lot of talent on the field. Folks, to be interested to see here with this event through Junior Nexus and field hockey that we're going to see for years to come, I think.
Yeah, and it was a tight match for both teams to get here. It was a one-goal game for Paris to make it to this point, and for Montreal, a pretty tight penalty shootout to make their way into this championship match. So we're looking for a really good game going into this one.
Yeah, and in case of Montreal, able to get here by blanking Vancouver 4-0 on Sunday. Followed that up with wins over Mexico City 4-1 and a 2-1 victory over St. Louis today. They didn't have the draw with Lake Placid 1 apiece. Meanwhile, as for Paris, they came into this match having so far notched 3 wins, beating Rome 5-2 on Sunday, 5-2 over Berlin on Monday, a draw with Barcelona 1-1, and a 2-1 doubling up of Milan. As we are underway here, as again we said in the red, it is Montreal moving it from right to left. We'll give the rosters for each of these two squads as well, and Bryn will fill you in on some of these standouts for these two teams. Montreal's coached by Rolf van de Kerkhoff. In numerical order, number 91, you have Riley Storm. You have out of San Diego, California, Penelope Roberts wearing number 92, a Ford that hails from Illinois. Jagger Graham, number 93, out of Baldwin, Maryland. Oakton, Virginia native. Gigi Liu, wearing number 94. Emerson Youngblood, number 95, out of Pennsylvania. Number 96, Elizabeth Carey. Isabella Bouchard, number 97, from Milford Lakes, New Jersey. 98, Eva Zaro. 99, Ella Campenny from West Pittston, Pennsylvania. You also have, as we did jump around a little bit number-wise, number 70, Cade Ticini from Franklin, Massachusetts. 71, Sarah Thomas from Houston, Texas. Ellison Pollock wearing 102 out of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. Also from Pennsylvania is Blake Patton wearing number 103. Anna Druhot is 104. She's from Midlothian, Virginia. Melia Seifel wearing 105. And then your two goalkeepers, and Melia, by the way, from St. Louis, Missouri, you have from Davis, California, Kara Kelly wearing 133. And from Haddon Heights, New Jersey, Cassidy Chestnut wearing 134.
Yeah, and leading this team is former Delaware coach Rolf van de Kerkhoff. I had to scroll through his bio about 15 minutes. It took me to get to all the way to the bottom. Just an established career for him, just finishing up this past season. He's 14 years as the Delaware head coach, leading that team to a 2016 national championship and 10 CAA championships, including this past year where they made it to the Sweet 16. Was also named the Division I Coach of the Year in that 2016 national championship. So great for this team, you know, volunteering his services to Montreal and has led them all the way here. Makes sense given his particular stature, specifically, quite literally, you know, up at 7 feet.
Here's in the shooter's circle, a chance to get something on the board. Lucy Jones there was in possession of it. She got defeated. A couple of players in the move there were Maeve Ryder as well as Lana Sullivan for Paris. And as we watch Paris go to work, they're trying to get a shot on goal here. As that one's going to trickle almost through and it will result in the game's first corner here with just over 12 minutes to go in the first half. We will give you the roster rundown for Paris here momentarily. Again, in the white unis, Montreal in the red for this 2025 Junior Nexus Gold Medal match here from the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach. All age divisions in action this week here at the training center, as we've seen 14U, and today it is 16U in play. We'll also see the finales for U-18 and U-21 in the days to come here. But what are you looking for in this first penalty corner, Brent?
Well, right now you're just trying to get the feel for what this penalty corner defense is looking like for Montreal. So a lot of these teams will usually, as we just saw now, will take just a single strike on goal get a good feel for what that defense is providing and then try and make some options in the future if they get another corner opportunity.
Great job there by Kira Kelly to deny that one. The 2028 class of 2028 goalkeeper who's got a bright future ahead of her. And now we see if Montreal can change up field position. Let's see the roster rundown for Paris. They are coached by Jeff Bergen. In numerical order in front of us, we have Lucy Jones, number 1 out of Pennsylvania, a Ford from the class of 2028. From the class of 2029, Antonia Parado from Bethesda, Maryland, we're number 2. Cameron Fields is number 3 from Columbus, Ohio, as we hear the loud jet fly over. From that one, almost was able to be sliced through there, but a good effort from Montreal in that sequence. Wells Weber, we're number 4 from Good Point Farms, Michigan, class of 2028, Florida midfielder for Paris. Number 5 is Lucy Farr, who referenced from Vienna, Virginia. Number 6, Maeve Ryder from Wilton, Connecticut. Number 7, Meredith DRC from Larchmont, New York. Number 8, Jocelyn Mariani from Sterling, Massachusetts, class of 2028. Midfielder from the class of 2029. A trio of players to tell you about here with Lily Ann Wiederman, wearing number 9 from Spotsylvania. From Glen Allen, Virginia, Emma Ronal wearing number 10. And number 11, Claire Brown from Baldwin, Maryland. Number 12 is Lena Sullivan from Arlington, Virginia. 13, Amelia Zadanis from Davis, California, a midfielder at the back from the class of 2028. Kristen Van Kirsten is number 14 from Waxhaw, North Carolina. Number 15 is Nola Maney. And then your 2 keepers from Perry Hall, Maryland, class of 2029, Caroline Weaver, number 137, and Lauren Baxter, 138, from the class of 2028 from Bayville, New York. And much like Montreal's roster here, Bern, as we watch Montreal trying to get on the board, but it's going to go back over to Paris here, a roster filled with a lot of potential and talent on the team.
Yeah, a lot of talent with also a lot of experience. 2 players I want to sort of focus on at the moment is number 1, Lucy Jones, and number 2, Antonia Prado, who are both members of the current U-16 junior national team. So both players also on that squad are also playing together for this gold medal game today.
Not bad at all, as we now watch Paris go to work here with Kristen Van Kirsten. Here is Parado. You just mentioned her double team comes. And there's a third defender skating over, and a chance here for Paris to get another opportunity via the penalty corner. It's their second of the opening frame as we're near the 8-minute mark of our first period. Another jet flying over top on this overcast, cloudy day.
You know, those jets are really cool to look at going over the fields. They are quite loud, though, in person.
So coach, one of the coaches for Paris looked above there, and that one's going to go far post side out of play and just out of the way of one Kelly. So we now watch Montreal go to the near side as they get it over to Emerson Youngblood. Now it's possessed by Gigi Liu. Back comes Paris, though, with Wells Weber, and now Montreal back with possession. Both teams coming in at 3-0-1. When you haven't seen each other and you're on this collision course for a championship, Bryn, as we watch now Montreal try to get into the attacking third area, do you feel like there's a strength, maybe not so much a weakness, but an area you can try to exploit, or do you get to this match and it's just you don't pay too much attention to the strategic points and just try to play individually and then collectively as well as a unit? What's kind of sort of the mindset going into something like this?
Well, I would say the biggest opponent isn't necessarily the other team, but it's actually your own team. All of these players are coming in. Most of them haven't played a single game with each other ever. You're all coming from different areas of the country, coming together with a coach you've never been coached with before. He's trying to get a feel for where do you fit best? What position on the field do you like playing? Where could you possibly have more potential playing in another position? Does your team have like 7 forwards or 7 backs? How do we approach and adjust to that? What's been nice is this is the 3rd day of gameplay, so you're starting to get a feel for where players are fitting best, where they're connecting, who they're connecting with. But, these teams are still quite young, again, 3 days old. It's really just a matter of how can we utilize ourselves best in order to get the ball down the field, create some successful opportunities to get some shots on cage.
And with this being the third day of the event, someone's going to finish up 4-0-1 and as champions of this junior U-16 Nexus tournament held at the Regional Training Center. And this time it's going to trickle back out to Montreal. Paris able to get it right back, though. And Parado, you've highlighted her already, Brennan. You see just her quickness, and now it gets over to Wells Weber before Montreal's able to come away with another takeaway here. Now they pass it up ahead here and into enemy territory. On the move, they had it until looks like just a little extra ounce of speed right now for Paris, giving them some chances on the move in transition. Here's Lena Sullivan. A couple defenders shooting over to her. She makes a nifty pass into the shooter circle, and it's going to be blocked there by the right foot area of Kelly. Another good job by Kelly in goal for Montreal. Paris staying with it and it will go out of play.
Yeah, Kira Kelly from Davis, California, plays for Davis High School, also plays for NorCal Impact Field Hockey Club, making the big flight all the way over to the East Coast. She's really being tested in this first quarter, has stood up to the challenge each and every single time, is being helped out by her defense. But you can only have so many shots in you before one tends to trickle in. So it'll be up to Montreal to kind of stuff this ball a little bit more than they have already.
Another pass on the button there as Parado gets it from Sullivan, and Paris trying to go back. Oh, what a shot! A circus shot. Now it's going to be through. We'll stay with number 4 that scores that. It's going to be Wells Weber for the game's first goal, coming with about 4 minutes and 55 seconds to go in our first period. And Paris strikes first to make it 1-0. How about that? Going oppo and then scoring it the other direction.
Yeah, what a great job staying focused on the rebound, being able to take that backspace shot, send it into the near post, just out of Kelly's reach. Great work there from the Michigan local. She's a member of the Maxfield Hockey 2028 Top 100 Players to Watch. And it's no wonder considering her excellent finishing skills.
So the first goal of this gold medal match scored by Wells Weber and Paris to take a 1-0 lead on top of Montreal as the Grosse Pointe Farms product is able to get it done. Notice that in her bio, Bryn, she's been playing hockey since she was 5 and also club lacrosse as an attacker and midfielder. And her goal to play at the collegiate level, be a great teammate and student athlete, which is, I think, music to coaches' ears. Not so much worried about the individual accolades, but being a good teammate and showing it's about the whole group here. That one's going to go out of play. A chance for Montreal to get it going the other direction, but a bright future ahead for her.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of these players play 2 sports, maybe 3 sports. I think it's such a valuable asset to have players who have played multiple sports in middle school and high school, which is, the grade levels that these players are a part of. Just really allows for some versatility as an athlete. A lot of college coaches love to see that you can not only work on a team in one sport, but also shift to another sport that has a lot of different skill sets and be able to succeed there too.
Here's Montreal, though, on the move again, trying to make something happen. Gigi makes the pass, and that one's going to go out of play before Meredith D'Arcy or anyone could track it down. Montreal's going to have possession here. We'll see if they can take advantage, as it's going to be, apologies, trying to check which number that was with those dark numerals. The glare coming off the, not so much the sun, but our camera lenses. That might have been Anna Druhot for a second there. Now Paris racing downhill, and there's a tumble for Parado with the keeper and Kelly. Fans liking the action, though, and intensity picking up.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be getting a discussion between both officials about whether this call is correct or not. However, pretty smart idea for Kelly to step out high from her circle to try and get that loose ball. Wasn't quite in Paris's control yet to be able to try and step out and play that. Looks like what we're looking for now is whether Kelly was able to make contact with the ball or whether she got the body first.
We're going to get a penalty stroke, it does look like, for this. And as a keeper yourself, we mentioned it, Patriot League, Keeper of the Year. Congratulations this past year for American. More dangerous if that's a 2-on-1 situation, right? Which is singled up, you can come more out of net as opposed if there's a second player on the other wing side, you might not be doing that. Is that sort of thought process? Yeah.
No, you're so right. Looks like right now we're actually going to overturn the call from a penalty stroke,
so no stroke
to a bully. So this sort of situation kind of updated rules in the past year, where a lot of times an overturn call would be a play coming out for the defense. Now it's a bully where the players will check sticks and then be able to play the ball from where it's standing.
When I like that the officials, as you mentioned, huddled up to try to get this correct here, because certainly you don't want to, in a crucial situation like this, have people upset about the decision that was made there, but they were able to communicate with each other. Maybe one had a better angle of view of it. And now with under a minute to go in this first frame, Paris trying to extend its lead, but Montreal hanging tough here. There's already been 2 corners thus far. There was no stroke on that sequence, and as Ben mentioned, a bully opportunity, but Montreal's had a couple of good looks here, and they're trying to get one here before the first quarter expires.
Yeah, and as you said, Matt, I think that's why it's so important for officials to be able to collaborate effectively with each other, not only to be able to both talk and make a call, but also have the humility to be able to overturn a call if you saw it going a different direction at first.
Now we're going to go on a play here where Paris will put it back in behind Kristen Van Kisteren. And the time running out here in this first period, but a pretty interesting one here is the first goal was scored by Wells Weber of Paris. And we've just about reached the end of, now we have reached the end of 1 quarter of play in this 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship presented by Osaka Hockey. Second quarter action coming your way from the Regional Training Center on this Tuesday in July. Stay tuned.
From credentials to luggage tags, even time standards tags for competitive swimmers, Bag Tags creates durable and distinct functional sporting events tags that are not only used as a security measure, but are also treasured keepsakes, marking special moments and milestones in an athlete's competitive career. Bag Tag services some of the most notable sporting events across the country. Fully customizable, totally unique, and made in the USA. Visit bagtagsinc.com today.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game!
Grow the game.
Grow the game. Grow the game.
Grow the game.
And we're back here for the 2025 Junior Nexus Girls Championships presented by Osaka Hockey through 1 period of play. It's Paris on top of Montreal 1-0 alongside Bryn Underwood. I'm Matthew Hatfield. So far, so good for Paris, Bryn, but it's taken Montreal a few saves to keep this from becoming possibly a 2-0 lead for Paris, which has gotten the edge in corners as well.
Yeah, Kira Kelly with some strong work in goal. However, Paris really has just put on the pressure consistently throughout this quarter. It'll be up to Montreal to sort of shift the pace, see if they can get the ball to the other side, get some shots on goal, maybe a penalty corner or two. But right now, all signs lead to Paris.
Not a bad place to lead to, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Paris here with possession to start off our second period of the 15-minute quarters we have here for this gold medal match. And Montreal, they've been involved in a couple of games that require them to score more than 2 goals to win. So this is not a daunting task as far as overcoming it. They don't want to fall behind multiple goals in a spot like this, because that's when you might be pressing a little bit and forced to do some things out of character.
For sure. But it definitely is still a young game. We still have plenty of time left for some things to shift around. it's important for Montreal not to panic, stay calm, continue to move the ball around, keep possession, just like they've been doing so far.
And on the move now, we see Montreal. They get it into the enemy territory. Here they come on the move with, I believe that's Elizabeth Carey. And that one's going to be out of the reach of the teammates. So looking for their first corner of the game. There was multiple corners for Paris in that opening frame, and Wells Weber scoring the game's first goal. About the emotions of a player, you've been one at a high level when you're in a gold medal match as opposed to the games trying to qualify to get into the tournament play and then play in this spot. Do you feel differently in terms of inside, any more butterflies when a match starts, or as it ticks down towards the end? What are they thinking out there, some of these competitors?
No, there's definitely a higher level of tension, a higher level of stress. Not only are you trying to stop here for the
Cameron Spears, chance for one-on-one with the keeper. She was being hovered around though by, that might have been Druhat again for Montreal though, but great chance on the move as we've seen Paris' speed in the open field a couple of different times. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, the stress is there though. It's certainly anxiety when you play with the stakes this high, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of implications for these players, not only in just, this is, the championship of a tournament. It's a really big deal. The stakes are high. You're trying to win a gold medal. But also for these players, they're in the age where they're trying to get recruited. So knowing this is a championship game, we can't see it from here, but there's quite a few college coaches sitting around watching these top-level players. There's also selectors looking at these games and seeing who they might pick up for the U-16 junior national team training camp. And so there's a lot of things that these players might be thinking about in such a high-level game that is the championship for Nexus.
A terrific turnout when I pulled up in here today. It was just a packed parking lot. Fans are loving the field hockey action. Who doesn't love coming to Virginia Beach in the month of July? It's summertime. We've kept, fingers crossed, the elements away thus far. And I also love the added tents this year, which is great for two reasons. One, to keep people dry if it does start having raindrops falling, but also keeps that sun away when it's beaming down on you. 95 plus in the heat index at triple digits like it will be for much of this week.
Yeah, as a personal benefactor from the tents, I am very much with them.
So here we are with just a little over 11 minutes to go in the first half. Paris on top 1-0. Had a chance there again, but now it's going to be taken away. I tell you what, if it's not Parado, it's Weber or it's Jones. You mentioned a couple of those players to start off here, 1, 2, and 4 on your screen. They have been active, and if you're a Montreal fan or a Montreal player, coach, observer, you're just like, they're like bees. They're just swarming over, flies over the food, or trying to get the ball constantly, and it's making a little bit of Montreal disrupted at times from getting possession back and getting on the run themselves.
Yeah, no, those are great qualities from your forwards, especially on a high aggressive press. You need those players who are willing to step out, create a lot of chaos, make the defense feel like they don't have time in order to look up for the next pass and get the ball to a capable, trustworthy player to get the ball out and down the field.
That time Lucy Farr thought she had possession in the battle for it, but here comes Montreal on the move in the far sideline area, and it's going to be there by
A class of 2028. She plays at Mamaroneck High School. She's a older sister, Catherine, who's actually going to Johns Hopkins this fall, so she got to play with her for one season before she's leaving to play for the Blue Jays. But DRC, also a member of Rye Field Hockey Club, doing a great job on the defensive line for Paris.
That's one of the neat things in these USA field hockey events and settings that we've had over the years here at the Training Center of Virginia Beach. The number of siblings where older sister played or someone in the family competed. I'm sure you've seen it both through this event and in the collegiate game. There's when you have that sibling sometimes that you can learn from that pushes you, it helps the development, I think, even more.
Field hockey really is a generational family sport. As someone from a field hockey family myself, it really having strong families that continue to, grow and put the passion of field hockey on their family members. I just think it's such a wonderful way to just, continue growing the game of hockey.
It was Anna Druhat with a brief stop there for Montreal, but back in shooter's circle area, it's going to be Team Paris with the combination of Cameron Spears bumping it off to Antonio Parada. And here comes the third penalty corner. This is the first one of the period now for Paris, which has already been able to put pressure on Montreal and looking to add more here. As we're nearing 8.5 minutes to go in this second quarter.
Yeah, and Parada continuously open in the circle. A member of Next Level Field Hockey Club. Just always able to create an opportunity for Paris, especially getting these penalty corners for them.
I mentioned Drew Hott from James River High School in Midlothian, Virginia, so a lot of Virginia flavor out here in the home state competing. And that one's going to be stopped again as Montreal trying to make something happen here on the move. And that one's going to go out of play here on the near sideline.
Yeah, as we talked about field hockey families, Matt, someone I want to mention is Lena Sullivan, who is a member of Team Paris. She is a local of Arlington, Virginia, member of Washington Wolves. But specifically, her high school, Bishop O'Connell, her mother, Megan Sullivan, is head coach there and was a UPenn alumni. She also has older sister, Maddie, who is going to Division I hockey Davidson in the fall. So huge field hockey family on Sullivan's side there. Just one example of a couple of these players who have siblings, have parents who have played field hockey in the past or are playing field hockey right now.
I know O'Connell up there in Arlington, as you mentioned, one of the more revered private schools in the state. It's also the place that man won over 1,000 games and made the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Morgan Wooten was the longtime basketball coach there, but it's been known for excellent athletics over the years. And you see the field hockey talent coming out of that program now is on the far sideline. That one's going to be deflected, and here comes Paris getting possession back with Claire Brown. Montreal able to get that one, though, on the pickup. Chance to tell you that Gatorade, quench your thirst, one of the proud partners here at the Junior Nexus Championships. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel, and Capelli, the official jersey partner of USA Field Hockey. Young ladies out there enjoying the Capelli swag. That one's going to be Montreal trying to get into the shooter circle area. It's going to drip away, but now coming up with it again. Another shot that's going to be towards the keeper, and that one putting a little pressure. I believe that's Lauren Baxter, if I'm not mistaken, Bren, back there. They have two keepers we mentioned. Caroline Weaver's the 2029 talent, and the 2028 Lauren Baxter. But even if Weaver's not in keep, to be 2029, and most of the players out there, many of them are 2028, it's good for those underclassmen to get their feet wet as they prepare and continue to develop as players.
Yeah, and even a couple of 2030s kind of like stringing along in there. Specifically on Team Montreal, you have Eva Zaro, the Chatham Township, New Jersey native, 2030. So a couple of young players in these teams.
Biggest thing I think with any event, whether we're talking about field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, basketball, baseball, football, you name it, is when you have the younger athlete competing against players that are 1, 2, maybe even sometimes 3 years older. It's just adapting to that speed of the game, right? That the first little burst of that, and then as you settle in, then show what you're capable of from there.
Yeah, there is an advantage for playing with players who are a bit older than you. You get used to that speed of play a lot sooner. That level of physicality, especially at this age group. All these players, are continuing to grow. They're getting taller. They're getting more muscle. So being able to keep up with that level, so then once your age group sort of grows up with you, you've adapted to that level of play a little bit quicker than they have.
One of the things I love on USA Field Hockey's website, go up there to usafieldhockey.com, as we're under 5 minutes to go in the first half of this 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship presented by Osaka. Matt Hatfield here with you alongside Brent Underwood, as it is Paris on top of Montreal 1-0 in this matchup. Don't forget, we have the third place game coming your way after this one is done as well here through USA Field Hockey and the great folks at Cova Sports TV. But I love the graphics and the descriptions they have up there, Bren. When you go to the Nexus page, you can see Again, Nexus, what is it? It connects players with experienced coaches who are trained in the USA way, the framework that guides USA field hockey's vision for athlete development in the game of field hockey across the country. But it has a breakdown for the players that are going through training camp. Emerge, aspire, perform, elite, and then also the USA player and the USA goalkeeper. Now, you're a keeper. You talked about just the physicality part too to go with the speed, but there's also a psychosocial, a tactical, a technical. When these games get down to the wire, and if it stays close like it is right now, 1-goal game, it really becomes extra technical and tactical, doesn't it?
Yeah, tactical, I think, is one of the most important aspects of goalkeeping. You know, we focus so much in goalkeeping training on the physical side, the saves, the technique, when in reality, I'd say only 20% of your time engaged during a game is actually making any sort of save or even kind of moving at all. When in reality, you're the quarterback of your team. You're communicating to your back line and all the way down the field about where to put your team in the best situation to keep the ball actually out of that circle. I always say a good goalkeeper is one that's able to make saves in the circle. A great goalkeeper keeps the ball outside of the circle before it even gets there.
Great job there, as it's Cassidy Chestnut now and keep for Montreal replacing Kelly this period. And a couple of good looks, as it was, I believe, Lena Sullivan, who you just touched on earlier in this period, Bren, who had a good look face up with her in the shooter circle area. But Paris continues to apply pressure, and to Montreal's credit, whether it's in this case now Chestnut or Kelly and keep, they're minimizing the damage. Just that one score from Weber, which came on the 5-minute mark of our first quarter.
Yeah, both of these goalkeepers from Montreal really have highlighted themselves throughout this tournament. Cassidy Chestnut, class of 2029, a local of Haddon Heights, New Jersey, plays for Spirit of USA. I was actually fortunate enough to coach her last year. She was a U-14 member of Nexus Championships. Shout out to Mexico City back then. But just a really strong overall goalkeeper. Did a great job of a ball that was really close to the goal, being able to step up with patience and take that shot off the body and keep it in front of her in order to then make the second save and get the rebound out.
Here it is now, as it's Lucy Jones. Chance to get right there with Chestnut and get a shot on goal potentially, but with under 2 minutes to go in the first half, Team Paris trying to strike here to add to its lead.
Yeah, just another highlight of Chestnut's excellent patience on the ball, allowing the player to receive it, look at where she's putting the ball, what space is she putting the ball into, and then being able to attack and use that stick skill to clear the ball over the end line.
Pirano trying to cross up one of the lanky defenders there for Montreal. Couldn't quite tell who that was. It might have been Malia Saffold. But another corner coming up here as we're under a minute to go in this first half in this Junior Nexus Championship presented by Osaka Hockey, the official partner of Junior Nexus. And check out the store here on site. All kinds of great swag and apparel for the patrons to pick up on their way out, or if you're coming by before this tournament is done, again with the other age divisions competing with the Junior Nexus Championships, the U-18 and U-21 in the days to follow. Got championships for the U-18 coming up on Friday, July the 18th, and we'll tell you about U-21 a little bit later on here too. Here's the corner now, and that one's going to be booted away. Chance on the rebound though, with under 40 seconds to go in the half. Here is Nola Maney, and now it's a tug of war with Montreal and Parado. Montreal's going to come away with it in this sequence, and again another opportunity for Paris that's thwarted by Montreal in its defense and in keep.
Yeah, hey, and you talked about the Nexus or the Osaka tent over here near our entrance. I'd say the Osaka staff have been here earlier than I have, really working hard in there. A lot of people go in and out of that tent all day, and they have really held down the fort in there. So kudos to them.
Indeed, as we've got the last couple of seconds, there's the horn. One half in the books in this 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. Paris on top 1-0. They're one half away from completing the mission of a championship. Does Montreal have a comeback in store? Well, you have to come on back and find out. Now this from some of the sponsors that make it possible. Stay tuned. You're watching USA Field Hockey action through Cova Sports TV.
A history of winning started with the 65 Gators losing steam, losing sweat,
We've identified the problem. What is the solution?
A drink scientifically designed to hydrate better than water, so they could sweat more, win more, and change the game forever.
Boom, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Same as lame. Field hockey players have stick. They've got vibe. They've got that tuning fork in their hearts that goes off when a ball thumps the backboard of a goal. Field hockey is for the mold breakers, the convention challengers, the trailblazers, people who think outside the box and come alive inside the circle. Sure, there will always be those who mindlessly take the road more traveled, think the same, do the same, play the same. Field hockey players know that the strength of the pack is the wolf, and that the strength of the wolf is the pack. We know we're different, and we're proud of it. It's how we stand out. It's how we fit in. Like eagles, we soar individually, yet value family and togetherness highly. Join us. We're the minority of millions that get it. There's a stick waiting to be picked up, lifelong friendships to be made, goals to be a part of, victories, defeats, draws, and more. Stories to be told, with you, by you, of you. There's a field hockey team waiting to be called yours. Game on. Dare to differ.
Welcome to the most honest commercial you'll ever see.
And as you can see, me and you are both having trouble starting to talk.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that you're breathing in every day.
Yeah. Like 50% of the air in the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is coming from down here.
Yes, sir.
How's your crawl space looking? You say we're going to be here a while.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get busy.
Get a free and honest inspection with JES Foundation Repair, a groundworks company.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Halftime here at the 2025 U-16 Junior Nexus Championships presented by Osaka. Our score, Paris 1, Montreal 0 with Brent Underwood. I'm Matt Hatfield. Thanks to our entire production team of Kayla Hodge, Jack Lowe, Nick Sinti, our camera operator, Stephen Shannon. Right now, we look at some of the numbers here, Brendan. It's triple the shots in favor of Paris. A few more saves for Montreal. Also the edge and corners to Paris in that respect as well. But so far, it's been a pretty competitive match. It feels like Paris has the edge, but as you well know, things can change quickly within a couple of minutes. A swing in the second half can put it the other direction real fast.
Yeah, this is only a 1-0 game. And as we've seen already, the defense for Montreal really has been keeping things strong in the back line. Montreal has been capable of getting the ball down the field. However, it's just been those really strong counterattacks. Paris has been able to get the ball from their backfield and get it down the line really quickly, and that's what's created those big scoring opportunities. A couple of one-on-ones with goalkeeper Cassidy Chestnut in that second quarter that she was able to fend off. But Montreal is able to get the ball up the field. Now the big goal for them is, can they keep it there?
And Montreal in the red, if you're just tuning in Paris in the white. Montreal going from left to right now. And this week, you mentioned Cassidy Chestnut as the keeper. Kelly's back in there now for this third quarter. And here's a chance now for Montreal to try to make something happen here as they quickly changed up the field position. I want to shout out another one of our partners here helping make our broadcast possible to you today, and that is JES Foundation Repair, a groundworks company. 32 years of trusted foundation repair and waterproofing solutions. Count on their proven history of excellence. Reserve your free inspection today and check out more online at jeswork.com. That's jeswork.com. As we've got 13 and a half minutes to go in this third period, you see just the eager observers and players watching along the fence as they are into this gold medal match here. Chance to make some lifelong memories, but also, as you've stated earlier, Brent, a chance to showcase the talents for so many of these young, talented ladies in front of college coaches as they try to just continue to build on their futures and develop as players.
Yeah, as, we can't see from this angle, but just off of the screen of this camera are loads of Division I, Division II, and Division III college coaches who are carefully watching these players, some of them who might have already reached out to them early. Now, of course, some of these players cannot talk one-on-one with these coaches just yet. They will have to wait until June 15th going into their junior years of high school. However, these coaches are carefully watching for who their next recruits might be to prepare for that moment when these players are of age to be recruited and verbally commit to these colleges.
It's been well documented, Brent, as we watch Montreal here try to get into the shooter circle, what the new age of college athletics, and you've lived it here, so you can speak on it as a player, as a student athlete, how it's affected a variety of sports, whether it be through men's and women's basketball, be it through football, baseball, softball, soccer, into sports. How much has field hockey been impacted here, just I would say post-COVID, the last 5-6 years with NIL and the portal? Has there been as much impact on some of these lower level players, the high school student athletes? Have they seen their recruitment affected, be it positively or adversely?
Well, with the new age of NIL and the house settlement just occurring back with, of course, that decision in June, I would say you don't see the high school impact just yet. Right now, the heavy impact is on these college players who might have been potentially cut early from their programs. Of course, now we know with the ruling that these players can be grandfathered back into their programs and stay there, and the roster limits will be, of course, grandfathered in, as I just said. So we don't really see that impact for the high school players just yet. We'll really see that in the next 4 years as the settlement, as the rules are being enacted, just within this near future. I would say the recruiting has changed overall for the positive, though. It's changed a lot since I was recruited to college. Back when I played in high school, I was recruited starting my freshman year. There was no limit as to how early you could recruit. Committed to a Division I school Easter of my sophomore year, which is pretty on par for Division I athletes, anywhere between the start of their sophomore year to halfway through their junior years of high school. Now, of course, with the June 15th rule for their junior years, I think it allows athletes to be able to take in and absorb where do we want to go really for school, not just for hockey, but also for academics. In reality, college is you're going to college for a degree first, and the hockey is just an added bonus. So these players really know where they want to go just outside of the hockey too. But there's a lot of things that go into account when it comes to what type of hockey you're looking for when you go to college.
One of the players from Montreal losing her stick, but able to get back here. We're going to get a corner awarded to Paris now with Parado right there. Again, I think that's now the 5th for them in their edge as far as corners go, compared to just 1 for Montreal so far in this matchup.
Yeah, it just looks like it was a lack of being 5 meters from the start of that foul occurring. There's a bit of the rule is you have to be 5 meters from where the foul occurred if you're defending the ball. However, if the ball's right outside the circle and it's played immediately, you do not have to be 5 meters. You just have to be within the circle. However, because that ball was settled and stayed there, you do have to get that 5 meters before playing it. And as we saw there, that wasn't done.
So here's Wells Weber set to put it in here, the one that scored the game's lone goal with about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. She gets it to Parado. Parado changing direction from right to left, and it's going to be stopped square up right there by Kelly twice. But on the rebound, the ricochet, it's good, and it's a goal as it's going to be put through for Paris to extend its lead 2-0. And that goal scored by number 4 in Wells Weber, the one that put it into play, and now she's got 2 in the game. So the rebound pays off in a big way for Paris to increase its lead.
Yeah, great execution by Weber to finish that goal on her near post. However, also just great work from Parado to be able to, she kind of had a missed trap at the top of that circle, but to be able to adjust, pull that ball to her left, find the space, and send that reverse in for the initial save that Kelly had to make, which of course then went to Weber, who finished it off.
So a 2-0 lead in favor of Paris here as they are able to push it upwards against Montreal, and Weber getting it to pay off there in a big way as it's Claire Brown back over to Lucy Farr. Montreal looking for an answer. Going back to your earlier point about the recruiting side of things, Bryn, you know, it's something I get asked quite a bit from, be it fans of sports or parents. How come we don't see so many student athletes, whatever sport it might be? It could be foot hockey or another sport. Wait till senior year, but in a lot of cases, going back to the college coaches, they're starting, you know, once they get to that senior year, if they're not on their radar, it's very difficult for a player to just pop all of a sudden and be a high-level Division I. There might be some at the Division II, Division III levels they can get seen, but really, with your Division I talent, almost now it's been accelerated in the last couple of decades that by your senior year, you've already established yourself on schools' radars.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I would say it's less about the players' abilities by their junior years of high school and more that these college coaches are trying to establish their rosters early in order to be able to lock down who is definitely coming to these institutions in the next couple of years, and especially when it comes to international recruiting. So trying to figure out how many domestic players, that's players who are from the U.S., how many of those domestics do we have on our roster? And do we have enough scholarship money in order to put an international on or two on this roster? So, you know, sort of that senior year is where you're putting those, you know, your Argentinians, your Dutch players, your Germans. That's where the focus is going for these college players for those seniors. So really more about the college coaches trying to get a lock on their rosters. So the earlier for them, the better.
Makes sense. And now with just over 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, Montreal trying to dig out from its own attacking third with the hounding defense of Cameron Spears for Paris.
And I think one more point I want to finish off with that is that even if you are in your senior year of high school and you're still looking to go Division I for hockey, it is never too late. I've had players that I've actually played with at American who have committed in their senior years of high school. One of my players, literally December of her senior year, and is one of our impact players on our team, starts for American, has excellent skill, excellent potential. So it's never too late to be recruited for any division of college, even Division I.
And now we have another corner coming up for Paris on top, 2-0 here in this matchup. Looks like it's going to be Weber getting it back from her teammate, I think. She's the one that put it into play last time and got the goal. The rebound, there she is. She's getting ready to put this one into play. And we'll see if Montreal can prevent them from increasing their lead to 3.
Yeah, and if you're Coach Jess Bergen for this Paris team, you definitely do want Weber on that insert for this play. She's already scored 2 goals. Jess Bergen, third season at Trinity College, a Division III school. Was also the prior head coach at Westfield State. So she has a couple of years under her belt. Not as much as Rolf van de Kerkhoff, but definitely a couple of years nevertheless.
Lucy Jones trying to bounce one in through that far post side, but it does not go through. And now Montreal trying to see if they can wrest momentum away here, as this has been a quarter really where Paris has been in control. You just see the speed there of Weber defensively really making her mark in this matchup today. She has had a great showing.
No, she's really been a standout for this Paris offense, doing a great job of keeping the middle strong.
Here's a chance there, and it's going to be a sliding stop for Paris with Caroline Weaver in keep. The 2029 goalkeeper. We referenced Lauren Baxter in the first half. There wasn't a ton of traffic, nearly not as much as what Kelly and Chestnut saw for Montreal, but with just under 4 minutes to go in this third quarter, this is a chance for Montreal to get back in this thing. You get to the fourth period down 2-1 as opposed to 2-0. That's a huge deal.
It definitely is. However, something my coaches always said was one of the most dangerous leads to have is a 2-goal lead, because you start to feel a little bit too comfortable in that situation, and all of a sudden you got two goals against you and you didn't even notice.
Well, just as you say that, here's a opportunity with a penalty corner now for Montreal, just their second of the game. I heard someone say that it's actually in the NHL, and of course there was a really neat Stanley Cup series that just concluded a month ago with the Florida Panthers repeating as champs, beating Edmonton in the rematch. But they always say, like you just said, at hockey or field hockey, a 2-goal lead is more dangerous than a 1-goal lead, which some people have a hard time comprehending it. But just how quickly that momentum can change. Boom, boom. There was a couple of games in the National Hockey League postseason where there were 2- and 3-goal leads evaporating quickly. And we watched some substitutions now, as it's going to be another chance for Paris to get it back on the other side of the field here with 2.5 minutes to go in the third period. But that could be the case in this type of game, because Montreal's, they've been stopping a lot of shots. This could be 4 or 5-0. Their keepers have kept them in this game to an extent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing is that mental capacity to be able to know that even though you're still 2-0, you have to stay on, you have to stay focused. The moment you start losing that focus is when Montreal can kind of sneak back in.
Here's Lucy Jones trying to pass it through in there to her teammate in Lena Sullivan. That far post side, a good look on goal, and that one's going to just wiggle away and out of play here with just under 2 minutes to go in our third quarter. But again, Paris with possession still, as it's going to be Maeve Ryder trying to attack forward, and Montreal's coming up with a stop along the end line. Now here's Parada again, and Montreal passing up ahead, but there's a player waiting for it in white for Paris. It's Lillian Waiterman. And a corner is going to be awarded here with 1.5 minutes to go in our third period. If you're looking for a sweet treat, go pay a visit to our friends at Dairy Queen, where they're serving you Blizzard treats, M&M's cookie dough, Reese's, and Oreo fudge brownie. Thanks for being fans all these years, they say, and here's to many more. Dairy Queen, Lansdowne. It's fan food, not fast food. Grill and chill. And go get the DQ app as well. It is another corner now for Paris. And we'll see on that near side, Sullivan in your screen, number 12, with her stick down. She could be a factor in this.
Yeah, the Max Field Hockey Top 100 Players to Watch member. Not getting the ball in this opportunity, but might get it right now.
Right there in front of the keeper, turning, positioning, trying to get a good shot on goal. Going to be stopped on the initial hit. And then on the rebound effort, they are able to dodge that too. So hanging tough in there was Kira Kelly, who's seeing a lot of pressure in this quarter from what Paris is presenting.
Yeah, great attempt by Lillian Weiterman, the Spotsylvania, Virginia local. She did a great job of getting that rebound off of the goalkeeper's pads and trying for another attempt. But Kelly doing a great job of getting low to the ball, closing up any gaps that might be around her body, get her leg guard on that ball and out to the left so that her defense could clear it.
Nearly collision there. They almost bumped into Renault, and then the horn's going to sound to take us to the fourth and final stanza in this 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship presented by Osaka Hockey. Our score, Paris 2, Montreal 0. A couple of goals scored from Wells Weber. We'll come back with the conclusion of this matchup on Tuesday in July from the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach. Stay tuned.
happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out
and taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
A history of winning started with the 65 Gators losing steam, losing sweat.
We've identified the problem. What is the solution?
A drink scientifically designed to hydrate better than water, so they could sweat more, win more, and change the game forever.
Boom, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Back to the 2025 U-16 Girls Gold Medal game for the Junior Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. It's Paris on top of Montreal by a count of 2-0. Both teams coming into this one with a record of 3-0-1. With Brent Underwood, I am Matt Hatfield, as we have following this one the bronze medal match, and that will pit St. Louis against Milan. St. Louis falling to Montreal earlier 2-1, and Milan doubled up by Paris 2-1. But two teams also trying to go home with some medals and have a memorable showing as we look at some of the numbers here so far. On nearly 3 times as many shots for Paris. The corners in their favor as well. Montreal having to save a lot of shots. It is a 2-goal lead. Not insurmountable, but the control has been certainly by Paris for much of this match.
Yeah, as you said, I would say the 2-0 isn't nearly as powerful as the amount of possession that Paris has had in this game. So even though it's still a tight game in our eyes, it's really been one way for Paris in regard to keeping the ball in their attacking 50 and really not allowing Montreal to have many opportunities on goal.
Montreal trying to spread it around here and see if they can find a playmaker that really ignites them in this fourth and final quarter. They've had a couple of moments. We've mentioned Malia Saffold, the two keepers, and Kelly and Chestnut trying to keep things afloat for them, but we just seen more, I think, just pop moments from Paris players, specifically Weber, along with Parado and Jones. Those three, even Wiederman, who you touched on towards the end of our third quarter, have stepped up for them. They're looking for a couple of players to just answer the bell here.
Yeah, just a lot more connections on their passes. It is hard with a team, of course, that you've only been playing with for 3 days to be able to have strong connecting passing patterns and bring the ball down the field in just one smooth motion. But Paris has done a really good job of that. Montreal, as we said, not so much. It's kind of had to put these pushes on the ball, with some fouls helping them out along the way, get the ball down the field. But Paris just doing a really good job in their possession skills and their passes down the field. Effective
double team there for Montreal, but once they get to the midfield stripe, it's going to be another takeaway for Paris, and that time almost getting tripped up with the ball to the top. And here they come back to try to wrestle it away from number 15 in Nola Maney. I think that might have been Elizabeth Carey for Montreal there that got in the pathway. Now they have possession nearing that third area where they could possibly do damage and get a shot on goal here. See who they try to get it to.
Again, this is what Montreal wants. Take advantage of a hide-in or a foul in their attacking 50. Get numbers up. Trying to create some chaos inside that attacking 25. Hopefully get a penalty corner from this opportunity.
You saw the pass there on that one from Emerson Youngblood. Here they are on the move. Get a couple of these side ends to pay off. They had that one moment ago, and now they're just trying to get to the center circle area. But again, a good job from Paris here, just staying connected. I think that's the big word you've hit on here, Brent, is that they're just, you see that they're in sync as a group, even though it's a lot of players playing together for the first time. They just seem to be in a rhythm right now and I think that was only bolstered by that goal from Weber in the third quarter as they look to get possession back on the other side of the 50 here of Montreal.
Oh, and that was an excellent aerial from the center back for Paris there. We haven't seen too many in this game in particular, but the aerial becoming a skill that's used heavily in the international level of play. If you ever get the chance to watch the FIH Pro League or any of the FIH competitions that are coming up, specifically Team USA will be playing in the Pan American Cup in later this month, going into early August. That game will be viewed on the Watch Hockey. Um, they have been utilizing the aerial at the international stage a lot and also defending a lot of aerials from other countries. So being able to utilize that skill at a young age is something a lot of these college coaches are going to want to see. It's becoming a bigger skill in the collegiate level too from a lot of international players. But if you can do it as an American, that's already extra points to you recruiting wise.
Yeah, you mentioned the airborne game. It's almost like, to equate it to basketball, people love the three-point shot. It has just that kind of type of flair and feel that gets the oohs and ahs from the viewers out there as we watch with Paris trying to make them well. They're not quite at the point of mouth with the last 2 minutes. They still got 2 minutes in the game, but you can see they're just trying to make things frustrating here for Montreal in this final frame, trailing it by 2 goals. As they have another player step right through along the far sideline. How about that? Just another nifty play. Might have been by Emma Renaud. Check that. That was Emma Renaud in the middle of the screen. That might have been rather by Amelia Zadanis as they're trying to get it back near the net. And that one gets sent out of play. And while we have a moment, chance to also mention another one of our proud partners that makes our broadcasts and action on Cova Sports TV possible for all of you, and that's Town Bank. At Town Bank, you'll find experienced bankers who are available, reachable, accessible, and have your best financial interests at heart, on or off the field. Serving others, enriching lives is what they do. Call or visit townbank.com and find your banker. Member FDIC. Big thanks to Bob Aston and the crew over there at Town Bank, as it's going to be another chance here for Montreal on the move. Double team comes, but nearly would have been a circus shot there for them, but couldn't quite tell that number, Bren, as we'll see if we can get a look at it again. We've mentioned a couple of different players, including lately here, Elizabeth Carey. It might have been her, in fact, that had a good look at things for Montreal.
Yeah, just an excellent dribble down the left sideline. As you saw, if we can end up finding exactly what her number was, being able to take the ball onto her left side with that one-handed dribble, still keeping it open to the defense as to not allow for a block out, which of course is a foul, but still kind of keeping it away from the defense so she can carry the ball safely into the circle and then get that excellent backspace shot that just sailed wide of the goal.
Yeah, we'll see if we can go back and check which number that might have been there. As you see, one of the Weber relatives watching the game as well. That might have been Anna Druhot. We talked about her before, 104 EC. Big shout out to Nell Weber watching. Go Wells Weber. Tuning in on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel. Thank you for chiming in. You can always hit us up via the chat in the comment box. Make you part of our broadcast, your interactive channel here with us as we bring you the last 8 minutes of this gold medal match. Again, coming up, we have the bronze medal game, which will feature St. Louis against Milan. And so many players catching the eyes of the scouts and college coaches throughout this week, and older age divisions coming up. Nola Maney's got a fan section too as Shar chimes in. So for Montreal here at this point in the game, trailing it by 2 with 7 minutes and change. We'll see if they go to some airborne opportunities as they tried to on that sequence.
Yes, Nola Maney from Linfield, Massachusetts, a member of Northeast Elite Field Hockey Club, one of the standout clubs from Northeastern U.S. There's quite a few members from Northeast Elite in these rosters for Junior Nexus. We'll probably hear about a couple of their other players later in the bronze medal game too. However, she is playing with teammate Jocelyn Mariani, who's also on this Paris squad. Mariani, a member of Neshoba Regional High School from Sterling, Massachusetts, not too far away. But Northeast Elite has a lot of really great players who've made the trip down to Virginia Beach this week.
I was just about to say there are certain club programs, travel teams, high school teams that even the novice out there that's not a diehard aficionado, they say, I've heard of Northeast Elite, or they've heard of the Hill School. Down here, Cox High School's got a reputation with the most record state championships, or they've heard of WC Eagles. So there are certain programs that you say, oh yeah, I can familiarize myself with that, as we hear from Bartholomew. Bart, Augustrum out there, field looks amazing, and what the entire team making the field look great here at the training center in Virginia Beach. Braving the heat and also the threat of severe weather, which we've had in the area before, and we'll keep the fingers crossed that we can keep it away for the remainder of this tournament, as there's a double team quickly on Montreal. And say what, the double teams have been applied at the right times, right places.
Yeah, no, Montreal has been doing a great job of actually keeping pressure into the circle for an extended period of time in this quarter. Still hasn't led to a goal just yet, but this is already great news for them with about 6 minutes left in this quarter to be able to get something on cage, maybe a consolation goal for them. But 6 minutes left, there's still plenty of time to create some sort of result for them.
And a big thanks to Taryn Galloway, appreciating the coverage. And that is all Bryn Underwood, Taryn. She is the brains of the operation. I'm just here battling alongside her as the double team was ready to be applied again by Montreal on Paris. Paris on the move, though. Look at them here with Cameron Spears. And, Montreal's got a lot of really good players, and they're having glimpses. But Paris, they're just really dialed in right now. You don't see any let up in them. And sometimes you'll see that with a championship level team. You've been involved with games and you see that. There hasn't been a let up or an opening, an opportunity for Montreal to really make this thing dicey down the stretch.
Yeah, I've been a part of championships where we've been able to keep it together, stay strong. And I've been a part of championship teams where we have let things go after a tight lead. Paris is doing a great job right now of just continuing to keep the pressure on Montreal. I think Montreal has found some cracks in their defense within this fourth quarter. But again, it still hasn't led to much. And also, you cannot give me credit solely for this excellent broadcast that's going on right now. You truly set me up for success.
Listen, you were right. I will also shout out, we got Kayla Hodge, Jack Lowe, Nick Senti, our entire team. But also Robert Rojas wanted to shout out number 71 in red for Montreal. That's Sarah Thomas. You see the comments pouring in here. Nanette Allen, go Montreal. Riley Storm is fire. Riley Storm, number 91 for Montreal. And Malia Saffo getting a shout out from Mark out there. So there you go. Carly says, see you in a few days.
Carly Hind, one of my favorite players. She just finished her last season at the University of Maryland, going to St. Joe's for her 5th year. Carly, always nice to hear from you. She's great. But Riley Storm, as we just mentioned, flew in from San Diego, California, plays for Canyon Hills High School, also is a member of Rush Field Hockey Club. Also a sport we have not mentioned yet. She also plays softball. There's a lot of funny connections between field hockey and other sports, Matt.
We got a goal, though, as you can continue that point in a second. That one's going to be scored. I believe that was trickled in by Cameron Spears. We'll get a look at that again here just to make sure, but they were able to get it on the breakaway, and that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin, you would think, for Montreal's hopes of pulling off an amazing comeback, as this Paris team has just been clicking on all cylinders today in this match here, as that's going to come with just over 3 minutes to go in our game. As we watch again, we'll watch the replay for a second here, Brendan. That was a pass initially by number 3 in Cameron Spears, then she gets it back. A little bit of a give and go type action there, and it actually went off her stick. I'm trying to see who had the pass from her again on that angle, but just a job well done by Paris, as that was excellent execution from start to finish there. Might have been number 7. We didn't get a good angle of it. Could have been Meredith DRC.
Yeah, I mean, but Spears, a great job of sending that leading ball down to the corner for her attacker to be able to run onto, and then being able to identify that off-ball movement, the space for that 90 pass off of the baseline to then one-time finish it into the cage. That's just really the indicator of a great player that not only has the skill, but also has the knowledge and the game sense to step up and play the ball and then run onto it and finish.
It goes out of play, but with just over 2 minutes to go, as we see Ann Jerriel's shouting out Sarah Grace Thomas. Getting back to your point, though, of the multiple sports things, I think it's something that can be brought up. We see it all the time in various drafts. I know the Major League Baseball draft's going on right now, but the multi-sport athletes, I love it every year. Whatever draft it is, you hear about this female or male athlete played of the number of 30, 40 picks in draft were multi-sport athletes. I think it definitely helps you, and I hear it from all the time interviewing different athletes. I know you know this from being an athlete. Certain sports will help you with another sport.
Yeah, I think it also avoids burnout. I think a lot of these top players will play only field hockey year-round and then tend to really just lose the love for it throughout that time. I think being able to jump into another sport in the off-season is such a great, prevention of leading to that burnout. As we just mentioned, Sarah Thomas getting the shout-out there. Local of Houston, Texas, plays for Texas Pride. Also has a twin sister, Hannah, who's playing for Team Rome in this exact same tournament.
How about that?
So, hey, twin sister myself, I love being able to hear about other twins. And also, I did coach Hannah Thomas as well last year in U-14 Nexus. Never got to coach Sarah, but hey.
So being a twin, I got to know in the last minute here. Do you ever try to play the old switcheroo on the parents? Do you try that trick or no?
It could never work on the parents. And my sister never wanted to do it.
Well, how about friends? Can you play this old switcheroo trick on them? See if you can fool them.
They might check us even quicker than our parents.
Really?
Would.
Okay.
Yeah.
We watch here with 40 seconds to go. Well, they won't be confused this week because they're on different teams. They're not on the same team with it. How about that? That's something else.
Well, at least for them, my sister and I are on the same team.
Yeah, exactly.
Nexus, but I am the one in the goal, and she's the one who's the field player. So that's the easy part.
This will probably be the final corner for Montreal. I believe it's their third now, if I'm keeping track of it. Jack, tell me if I'm wrong on that. I think that's the third for them, as Paris has a 3-goal lead. And that one's initially halted. Last 5 seconds. Can they avoid a shutout? Montreal's had a fantastic week here, and they will get a corner before the horn. But it looks like it's going to end at 3-1-1, whereas Paris is going to finish up at 4-0-1 and capture the gold medal. Because even if they are able to get a goal off this corner, which is what they're shooting for here, it won't be enough to catch this Paris team that has added to its lead methodically as this one has moved along. And that one off the rebound, a chance to push one through, but the keeper, oh, there is a goal. It's going to be put on the board. And we see if we can pan with that player that did it. I see with the mouth guard. Let's stay with her with the green gloves. We can check who the green gloves was, but it'll close it out at 3-1. A win for Paris as they beat Montreal in this gold medal match to finish the deal.
Yeah, just a great performance from Paris in this game. I mean, you still have to give credit to Montreal, especially on the defensive end with their goalkeepers, really keeping that game from being a multi-goal game of higher than 3-1. But Paris was just so good at connecting, really feeling like a team that has played a couple more days than just 3. Really an excellent showing for them in this championship game.
They get 2 goals from Wells Weber and 1 from Cameron Spears, and that's going to conclude our coverage. I want to thank our entire team from Nick Senti and Jack Lowe, Kayla Hodge, also Seen and Shannon on camera from our partner Brent Underwood. I'm Matthew Hatfield. Thank you for watching the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship Gold Medal Match presented by Osaka Hockey. Make sure you stay tuned to usafieldhockey.com for so much more. We've got the bronze medal match on the way. Keep it tuned to Cova Sports TV and USA Field Hockey for more. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
From credentials to luggage tags, even time standards tags for competitive swimmers, Bag Tags creates durable and distinct functional sporting events tags that are not only used as a security measure, but are also treasured keepsakes, marking special moments and milestones in an athlete's competitive career. Bag Tag services some of the most notable sporting events across the country. Fully customizable, totally unique, and made in the USA. Visit bagtagsinc.com today.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
And we welcome you to our continuing coverage of 2025 U-16 Nexus Field Hockey Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. It is a matchup featuring Milan and St. Louis. Milan in the away uniforms, which are red, and it is St. Louis taking on Milan. St. Louis in the home white jerseys. With my partner, Bryn Underwood, I am Matthew Hampton. We'll go through the rosters for these two teams here in a second. But, Bryn, they get here to this bronze medal match, both coming off losses to the two teams we just witnessed square off in the championship, the gold medal game, where Paris was able to oust Montreal 3-1, both falling 2-1 in the semifinals to the likes of Montreal and Paris. It was Paris beating Milan 2-1 and Montreal beating St. Louis 2-1. So St. Louis entering at 3-1 overall with their record, and Milan entering with a record of 2-1-1.
Yeah, and St. Louis actually losing in that penalty shootout in the semifinals against Montreal. Really close match between the two. That game went to 1-1, of course, before that penalty shootout. But of course, as we just saw, a really great game against Paris and Montreal. We're looking for another great game again for the bronze.
So we'll tell you about some of these players and ones to watch out for. As we got a corner here to start things off, though, and it's going to be quickly a corner put on for Milan as they get one, wasting no time whatsoever here in this matchup. And we'll give you the rundown for each of these teams. We'll actually probably start here with Milan, which is coached by Don Warner, the head coach at Princess Anne High School here in Virginia Beach. Tell you about his group here in a moment. Done a nice job there, led by Sidney Regini over at PA this past year. He's going to JMU. Here's the corner, though. Straight away, and that one was able to be deflected away as it was stopped by the keeper. I think that is Schmidt. Yes, that is Caden Schmidt, the keeper from Newton Square, Pennsylvania for St. Louis. Now, while we have a second here with Milan 13, let's give the roster numerical rundown for them as they have number 106, Lydia Brown out of St. Louis, Missouri, a Ford from the class of 2028. From the class of 2029 is number 107, Ann Hansen from New Canaan, Connecticut. 108, Clara Maloney from Washington, D.C., a forward and midfielder from the class of 2028. From the class of 2029 is Genevieve Graham out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, a forward wearing 109. Forward and midfielder wearing 110 is Claire Kelly from Hingham, Massachusetts. A forward and midfielder wearing 111 is Julian Warren from Yorktown, Virginia. Sarah Beniki is 112. She's from Louisville, Kentucky, and a midfielder from the class of 2028. Also from the class of 2028 is Ella Arvai, a midfielder from Saline, Michigan. 114, Isabella Bouillon from Short Hills, New Jersey. Another midfielder is Kinley Dirksen. Kinley Dirksen, 115 from Westport, Connecticut. As we watch our second corner, and we will stop there with Kinley just for a moment. But you can see, not wasting any time here for a second, Brent, it looks like Milan has come out with that pep in their step, and they're trying to put St. Louis on their heels here as they have just two corners less than 5 minutes through.
Yeah, doing a great job of getting that ball in the circle in order to create these opportunities for them early on.
So here's the corner chance, and it's going to be straight away, and that one's again just a little bit off the mark to the near post side and out of play. We've left off with Dirksen being 115. 116 is Taylor Mitchell from Leonardtown, Maryland, a midfielder from the class of 2029. Taylor Loria is from Burnt Hills, New York, and she's wearing 117, a midfielder for Milan. Elizabeth Guy is 118 from Arlington, Virginia, midfielder and back from the class of 2028. And going back just for a second to Taylor, class of 2030 on the team. I believe that's the only 2030 player on the team for them, and perhaps either team in this matchup. Harper Straken is 119 from Houston, Texas, a back from the class of 2029. And Cassette Lee is 120 from Virginia Beach, Virginia, a back from Milan. Your two goalkeepers, Casey Timler, 151 from Hillsborough, New Jersey, and also from New Jersey out of Bridgewater is Zahara Abraham. We'll tell you the team for Coach Georgia Holland here in a moment, but a lot of intriguing players. A number of players from the state of Virginia. If I counted them up right here, Brent, I'm not sure I did. I think it's 4 or 5, at least, for Don Warner from Milan. So I'm sure he's gotten familiarized with those players and then the rest of them as this event has gone on.
Yeah, of course, a Virginia coach himself. Over 25 years of coaching experience. Most recently, of course, at Princess Anne High School, where he's been head coaching since 2022. That team made it to the regional semifinals this past season in 2024. But most notably, from my personal experience with Don Warner, he is just a man of so much knowledge. He is also just such a professional. Everything is on the clock, works exactly the way he wants to, and he just is able to communicate with his players so well and so eloquently. Makes me wish I was a U-16 player still. So, got his team to a third place game right now. It's no wonder on my end why he's there.
Yeah, high compliment and praise there, and it's well justified and deserved. And he's been in the district here in the Beach District in Virginia Beach that's mighty tough, with Cox and First Colonial being heavyweights, powerhouses with trophy cases full of trophies. And if he was in any other district, he might have already gotten himself or gotten PA those regional and state titles that they've been coveting. So that covers the Milan team. We'll tell you about St. Louis now for Coach Georgia Holland. In numerical order, you got Ava Roseborough from Uxbridge, Massachusetts, a Ford 2028. Ava wearing 31, wearing 32 is Campbell Wright from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Ford for St. Louis. Yeah, there's a Virginia Beach player on St. Louis, too. She's from the class of 2028. Also from 2028 is Sydney Powell wearing 33 from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. A Ford and midfielder wearing 34 is Caroline Almeida. Keep an eye on that name from New Canaan, Connecticut. I'm sure Brent will tell you more about her as we move it along here. Vienna Gabelli, number 35 from Greenwich, Connecticut, a Ford and midfielder from the class of 2029 to go with 34 Almeida and 35 Gabelli. 36 Lila Ryan from Factoryville, Pennsylvania, a midfielder who's got some talent as well. As we will stop there for a second because we do have, it's like they stopped there as they will reset things. Another chance for Don Warner's group with Milan to try to strike here as they get the reset. And here it is on the side in as they're trying to break those white jerseys with Claire Kelly for a moment. Working the in-line. We'll see if they have any scoring opportunity on this sequence or not. Doesn't look like it, so we'll continue with the roster here for a second. We left off with Ryan being 36. Jocelyn Schwartz is 37 from Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Winnetka, Illinois has got a couple of players, 38 Isla Kerr and 39 Clara Kotz, a couple of midfielders there. Number 40 is Chloe Chawla from Greenwich, Connecticut. 41, Rachel Stotts from Boston Lake, New York, the class of 2027. Class of 2029 is Adeline Martin, number 42 from Pennsylvania. New Canaan, Connecticut's Hadley Clough wearing number 43, and we'll stop there again before we give you the final two names and two keepers for St. Louis, because we have I believe that's our third corner already, at least here for Milan, as they are knocking on the door. Now, I was always taught as a kid, if you keep knocking on doors, someone's going to tell you to stop knocking on doors, or they'll eventually open a door. So we're trying to break it open here and get the game's first goal. I don't knock on doors anymore, don't worry.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many doors have you been knocking on,
don't
Matt?
do that. Eventually, the authorities will say it's not cool to keep knocking on doors if you keep doing that. So here we go, as that's going to be put into play. Looks like that is number 112 and Sarah Beniki, but another corner coming up off it. And I don't know that they've gotten really clean hits on these, Brent. You would know better than me, but on these corners, they haven't been as textbook executions we watched in the last game, which was the gold medal match that was won 3-1 by Paris over Montreal. But eventually, I'm sure that's something that's going to get stressed here if they keep getting them. Another nifty pass. That's better execution, but this time the pass is not going to be on the button yet. They get a fifth corner coming up here, as right now St. Louis is having a hard time from keeping Milan from accumulating these things, and we're not even a full 10 minutes into play.
Yeah, Beniki just continuing to find feet in this corner. Beniki coming from Louisville, Kentucky, member of Sacred Heart High School, plays for IFIC. and is also a Max Field Hockey Top 100 player to watch for her age group.
Couple of short passes on the money there as that one was over to Strachan. And now it's a tug of war for it, battle for it between Milan and St. Louis, and they continue to wrestle for it along the end line. And Milan comes away with it for a moment. Now trying to pull away with it for St. Louis. I believe that might be Campbell Wright. It is Campbell Wright. Two more names to tell you about for St. Louis. We left off with Hadley Klobing, 43. 44 is May Sauer from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a back from the class of 2029. Also from the class of 2029 is Lillian Sutherland, wearing number 45 from Glenview, Kentucky. And then your two keepers, Caden Schmidt, who we referenced earlier, wearing 125 from Newton Square, Pennsylvania, from the class of 2028. And from the class of 2029, it is keeper Bridget Young, wearing 126. And she from Wellesley, Massachusetts, with a birthday coming up next month, I see.
Well, happy birthday to her.
Yeah, early.
Early. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we can always say happy birthdays a little bit early here. As we just talked about, Caden Schmidt in goal for St. Louis right now. She's already been tested a couple of times, has been really calm and composed on these saves that she's made, doing a really good job in the back of the cage. She, of course, is a class of 2028, like you mentioned, a member of Episcopal Academy up in Pennsylvania, one of the private schools up there, always vying for that Pennsylvania private school championship against the Hill School usually, or at least that's what it was during my time. As also a member of Powerhouse Field Hockey Club, she's actually joined by fellow Episcopal teammate Sydney Powell, also on this same St. Louis team, also plays for Powerhouse too. So nice to sort of have that teammate connection on the same team for them at least.
That one just got away from Viana Gabelli. We saw a connection earlier with Chloe Chala to Caroline Almeida moments ago. And while I'm bringing up birthdays, just 2 days ago, celebrating a birthday was the Hingham, Massachusetts product in Claire Kelly. So she got to celebrate that here at the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey, as we've got a little more than 3 minutes to go in our first quarter. Coming up, you'll hear from some more of our partners that help make this possible, this broadcast possible, such as Portco and Cova Painting, where they don't just paint, they transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com and call 757-550-7357 for more, including 10% off projects of over $1,000 when you mention the Sportsplex for your services. Again, Cova Painting for that, as we've got under 3 minutes left in this first period, and it's St. Louis with possession. We saw in our last game, the gold medal match, Bryn, an early goal, I should say in the first quarter. It wasn't so much early. It was about 10 minutes in from Wells Weber. Two of her team's 3 goals were scored by her, and she had one in the first quarter, and they beat Montreal 3-1 as Paris was able to capture the gold medal. Right now, number of corners so far for Milan, but St. Louis trying to get really its first quality look and shot on keep in this matchup, as they've been sort of bottled up to this point.
Yeah, it's been a lot of plays in between the 23s since those first couple of corners for Milan. However, Milan is still kind of, we said before, knocking on that door, really trying to get the ball, really trying to test that St. Louis defense. They're holding up strong still, but, kind of a similar situation that we saw with Paris and Montreal in game for the gold medal game. You had Paris really keeping the pressure, and it allowed for a couple of goals early on. Really didn't allow any opportunity for Montreal to finish until those last couple of seconds, and by that point it was already too late.
Here it is on the move, trying to make something happen again. It got away though from Benicki. Now she's got it back. Milan getting here with a draw on Sunday, 1-1 with London. As you see, Gabad San Juan says, "Let's go Cam Bam" out there. We're getting the comments chiming in. Thank you all for doing so, and interact with us on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the share buttons with everything up there. And it was a 1-1 draw with London for Milan on Sunday. They were able to beat Athens 3-2, defeat Amsterdam 3-1, and then the 2-1 loss earlier today as they got to this matchup at 2-1-1. As for St. Louis, reaching this point at 3-1 by beating Atlanta 5-2 on Sunday, edged Los Angeles 3-2, and then had a 4-0 shutout of Salt Lake City before the 2-1 loss to Montreal earlier today.
Going to take an educating guess and say that shout out was for Campbell Wright, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Class of 2028, of course, here from Virginia Beach, again, is also from Frank W. Cox High School, who we already mentioned has the most state championships for the state of Virginia, especially for those the private high school field hockey teams. So from an established program, doing a great job here.
Yeah, one of the legendary coaches in the sport, Nancy Folks, for so many years, and they've continued that tradition. And Julie Swain and now Taylor Roundtree, who played there, doing an excellent job. We've reached the end of one quarter of play. It's scoreless between St. Louis and Milan. The bronze medal match for 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. We'll be back in just a moment.
From credentials to luggage tags, even time standards tags for competitive swimmers, Bag Tags creates durable and distinct functional sporting events tags that are not only used as a security measure, but are also treasured keepsakes, marking special moments and milestones in an athlete's competitive career. Bag Tag services some of the most notable sporting events across the country. Fully customizable, totally unique, and made in the USA. Visit bagtagsinc.com today.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game!
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game. That's the mantra of USA Field Hockey. Give them a visit online at usafieldhockey.com. Make sure you hit the like buttons, the subscribe buttons to all their social media accounts. With Burn Underwood, I'm Matt Hatfield as the second quarter is underway in our championship, or I should say our bronze medal match. Earlier today, the gold medal match in the Junior Nexus Championships was won by Paris 3-1 over Montreal. It's scoreless between Milan and St. Louis here on this 80-plus degree day. So far, they say rain or shine, Brent, but we've kept the rain away. It hasn't been sunshine, a lot of clouds here, and there is a threat of storms in the forecast today. But a fun day of field hockey. It could be a lot worse in terms of the humidity and the heat. It's already been rough for folks this entire summer, but nice to see the competition out here on the turf as this U-16 division is coming to a close today.
Yeah, and Matt, when is there not a threat of storms here
True.
in Virginia Beach? It's been quite overcast, which has actually made for really great weather for these players today. Hasn't been too hot. Had a little bit of rain to cool these players off. Not too much, though. That hasn't been soaking wet here. I would say we've been pretty fortunate at the moment with how the weather is holding up for these players today.
And also it helps for the photographers out there. I gotta give a shout out to my man. I think he's the best in the biz. He's done so much for USA Field Hockey over the years. Dan Trevino, follow him on Instagram. All the kids do. He's got 10,000 plus followers. Dan T Photo does some great work for us here at the Plex and also with my website at Virginia Prep. So he is outstanding when it comes to getting the photos. I have not seen Dan out here yet today, but I know it's better sometimes to keep that sun glare away, have a little overcast clouds that can make some of the images look even sweeter. And so far, trying to get themselves a sweet finish, you've got it possession at the moment. It is St. Louis here, and they're in the white unis. They've dodged a number of opportunities. You saw the first quarter stats moments ago, Brent, from Milan with 5 penalty corners, but you generally don't see a team get that many corners and it still be scoreless.
Yeah, and a lot of those corners are coming from re-corners where there was a foot by the defense on the play. And as a coach, especially if you're Georgia Holland at this time. You're okay with those re-corners, especially because that means that ball isn't going into the back of the cage. It means your defense is doing something to keep the ball out, even though it might be just a restart of that corner again. Georgia Holland, haven't talked on her too much yet, but a successful coach in her own right is the associate head coach at Northwestern up in Chicago, Illinois. Probably a household name for anyone who's been listening to field hockey the past year. We're the national champions this year for Division I collegiate hockey. And also, she is a Wake Forest alumni, so a member of the ACC herself, moved over to the Big Ten, and now is creating a lot of success for herself with that Wildcat squad.
That just means Georgia is always rooting for the Demon Deacons unless they happen to play her Purple Cats of Northwestern. Then it's a conflict of interest, and she's got to root for where she's working. So that's the one thing. But you're right, Northwestern. We had Big Ten at the beach here a couple years back. Might have been actually as many as 4 years back as we watch on the move here. Milan now trying to get an opportunity, and it's going to be passed up ahead to 114 Isabella Bullion. And here's Isabella being hounded by May Sauer, and this time it's going to get booted out. So lodging a threat right there at St. Louis on the move. But we had the Big Ten at the beach, and you think the number of incredible programs. Maryland comes to mind, Northwestern. I think at that time, and I have to check with my good friend Terry Sawyer, who was my partner on some of those broadcasts that we did on Big Ten Network Plus. I think there was, of the top 25, Brent, I could be mistaken, I think 6 of the top 25 teams at that time were from the Big Ten. So that's just one of the best conferences in the country, and the wealth of talent there is quite astonishing.
It really is, and that talent continues to grow for the Big Ten.
Right, they've had expansion, so it might be now 9 of 25, right?
Well, fortunately, we haven't had that expansion seep into field hockey yet. Right. That Big Ten, which is a big whatever number it is, certainly not 10, but definitely growing. We actually saw some expansion from the ACC. Just had Stanford and Cal Berkeley make their way into the ACC for field hockey. Both of them made their ACC tournament this year in the first time of being there. So that's really great for them.
Yeah, it's been it makes for extra travel now with some of these league members. But you're right, it's a constant changing of the landscape with various sports, and even seeing some of the leagues not known in the Power 4 realm like Conference USA and some. But there's a tough collision as multiple players go down, including the keeper. And good to see that they're able to hop up okay. 31 for St. Louis, one of them. And that could have been a lot worse than what it was for both sides.
And in goal, that was Zara Abraham, the class of 2029 member from Bridgewater, New Jersey, plays for Total Dutch Field Hockey Club. Honestly, just an excellent decision from her. That loose ball coming into the circle, a lot of contention, a lot of pressure from her defender in order to keep that attacker kind of moving in just one direction, going out, taking out the ball first, just collateral damage of the two other players next to her. But that is legal for her to take them out as long as she gets the ball first, and she did so. Got the ball out of the way of the circle and stopped a really good shooting opportunity from St. Louis.
What a pick from Jillian Warren there for Milan, and Al trying to get a sweeping hit. Looked like that was 109 or 103. Yeah, 109. There's no 103. Genevieve Graham with a look there. But Milan continuing to mount with pressure on this St. Louis defense here, and their keeper, as they're seeing a lot of shots come on goal, and even those corners that have added up. Yet we've not seen one in this second period just yet to increase the scoring odds, but still scoreless here in this matchup between St. Louis and Milan here on the turf at the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach. And speaking of the turf, since 1965, the AstroTurf brand has been driven by forward-thinking ingenuity. Today, AstroTurf continues to improve its system design to deliver playing surfaces with the most realistic sports-specific performance, longest-lasting durability, and sound player protection. AstroTurf, as we watched Taylor Mitchell run into your camera view there from Leonardtown, Maryland. 116 in red for Milan as they go back to work defensively here. Now they'll get possession along the far sideline.
As Taylor Mitchell, class of 2029, is from Leonardtown, Maryland, plays for Eliminators Field Hockey Club. Actually, a club I have not heard of before. I think what's been so great since I've played club field hockey is the amount of smaller clubs that have popped up and the amount of talent that's willing to spread out to these newer clubs and sort of create new ground within club field hockey. One thing that we saw with the National Club Championships is there was a big variety of teams within all age groups that we saw being showcased in the medal matches. Of course, there's your WC Eagles who swept all 3 age groups, but they had to each play different teams in order to get there. And those bronze medal matches were played for the most part by different teams than you usually see. So that was really exciting as someone who's continuing to want to watch field hockey grow on a national stage, to be able to see talent from multiple different clubs sort of create their names at the National Club Championships back in June.
Earlier today in the U-16 gold medal match, it was Paris beating Montreal 3-1. In the U-14 championship game that was played on Saturday, it was Athens blanking Montreal 1-0. In the bronze medal match, it was Los Angeles doubling up Rome 2-1 there. And again, if you want to stay up to date with all the results, USAFieldHockey.com has links for you, as well as through the Turning Machine app. Just punch in Junior Nexus Championships and you'll have it right there at your fingertips on your mobile device or your computer or whatever electronic piece of equipment you are using. I thought it was about to be a corner for a second, but instead it's going to be back over to Milan, trying to continue to get some separation where they can attack and get a shot on goal here as they're changing directions, going more east from west, if you will, going to the far sideline. We'll see if that can pay off there. You see walking into your screen is 120 Cassette Lee from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And that one's going to roll out of play. So just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Really, possession's been dominated by Milan, but if you're St. Louis, you just get to the break here, and if it's still scoreless, you have to feel like you've accomplished something from that perspective, that you didn't fall behind in this match.
Yeah, we have seen a couple of those attacking opportunities for St. Louis, so we know it is possible for them to get the ball down the field and get the ball potentially in the goal for their team. Just right now, the possession has mostly been on the Milan side. However, a big difference between this sort of contest between St. Louis and Milan in comparison to Paris and Montreal is that there's been less corners for Milan against St. Louis than we saw for Paris against Montreal. We said a lot of those corners have been from repeat corners from feet from the corner defense, but there's been less true corner opportunities within this first half for, of course, the defending team.
Could be wrong, but it seems like there's been a couple more substitutions as well here for Milan, changing some of the lineup formations in comparison to what we've had for St. Louis in this first half.
Yeah, as we just saw on the field, Ann Hansen make her way on. She is from New Canaan, Connecticut, a member of AGH Field Hockey Club. So usually we've been saying all those Connecticut players are coming from Northeast Elite, but another club, AGH, pretty successful in their own right too.
Yeah, they've been in a few of the finals over the years in USA Field Hockey events we've had in the summertime, specifically here at the Training Center in Virginia Beach, as we watch Milan try to get back to where they can draw, and they just did it right there. Really patient, nice job of drawing that corner. They're 6th of the half. And we'll see if Milan can get this one to pay off with the game's first goal.
Yeah, and that was some excellent stick skills from Izzy Bouillon, number 114. From Shore Hills, New Jersey, plays at a Kent Place school. Is also a member of Center Court Field Hockey Club, her club team, which actually got bronze in the U-16 National Club Championships just last month. She was a member of that roster. She's also, of course, a Max Field Hockey Top 100 player to watch.
So here's the corner now, and we'll see if she's going to be directly involved with this one. Didn't get a good shot on goal, as that one was basically bottled up from the corner area of the post and ends up rolling away. And that time the pass just off the mark. Well, they were trying to go to Elizabeth Guy, if I saw it right. It'll be put into play here now from Hadley Clough. for St. Louis.
And I would say Willione is probably one of the players to watch for this game. Just watching her in the first quarter and also going into this second quarter, she's done an excellent job of not only being patient and skilled on the ball, but is just so quick in her off-ball movement. As we saw in the first quarter, she was able to pass the ball off and make this incredible 50-yard run past her teammate that she just passed to in order to send the leading ball into the corner for her to make a potential play on goal. Expect her to continue to make those runs and those really knowledgeable plays throughout this game.
Looks like some rain is starting to fall as we are just over 3 minutes to go in the first half. As you can see that now in your camera view, starting to pick up a little bit more substantially here in this first half.
And you know what, Matt? I'd say don't be afraid with of a little bit of rain. At least for me as a goalkeeper, I love rain as long as I'm in my gear. If I'm out of my gear, please no. But if it's raining, it means the turf is wet. And I am very much happy.
So advantage to the keepers as opposed to the forwards and midfielders and backs out there is what you're telling me when it starts picking up.
Oh yeah, I would say so. That stick grip can get very wet. You'll see a lot of these players, especially as they reach the collegiate levels, will be wearing what's called a chamois, which is a grip that goes over top of your regular stick grip, which actually helps keep it grippy and not slippery in your hands when it does rain. So if you don't have one now, guys, buy a chamois. It is so helpful.
They probably have one of that little Osaka field hockey tent over there, wouldn't they? I would think they probably do.
I mean, if they don't, they should. But Osaka, that tent has a lot of great stuff in it. I myself have bought a couple of things from that tent. Guilty as charged, but a lot of great gear over there. I expect them to have some of the chamois in there.
No, you're not guilty. They didn't charge you anything. You paid for it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You didn't get charged with anything.
Yeah.
That one's going to get away from 35. That's Vienna Gabelli. So here it is on the side end for 117, Taylor Loria. We mentioned Taylor Loria out here earlier being the only 20-30 talent coming all the way from Burnt Hills, New York. So it's got to be an experience for her to not just get the feet wet for multiple reasons, as it's raining now too, but to compete against older athletes out here. It's only going to, you think, accelerate her growth and development as she plays in this in the years to come.
You know, she's already seen some really high-level experience. Actually, as a 7th grader, already played on her high school at Burnt Hills and has made quite a splash there already. So just at a young age is already a strong talent for her high school.
That's quite impressive to do that as a 7th grader. And you see so many athletes now are reclassifying or repeating the 8th or 9th grade year, you name it. So one half in the books. It's raining, but hey, we've still got more field hockey action coming your way. I think we do. Yeah, we do have more field hockey action coming your way from the training center in Virginia Beach. And we're going to actually, before we go to the break, we did get a corner call. So we'll keep it right here. It's not exactly over the half here, as this is going to be the first one for St. Louis in the half. How about that?
Yeah, good for them. Just before the quarter is up. And of course, for those who don't know, even though the clock is 0, this corner must play out in order for the half to be done.
Sure. Rachel Stotts puts it into play. In the middle, that one's going to take a hop right next to the keeper in Zahara Abraham, 152. And that's going to in the half, it looks like, as the rain is starting to pick up a little heavier now. Scoreless between Milan and St. Louis in this bronze medal match for the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships. And it's presented by Osaka Hockey. Now we get a word or two from some of the sponsors and partners that make it possible for us right here on Cova Sports TV.
A history of winning started with the 65 Gators. Losing steam, losing sweat.
We've identified the problem. What is the solution?
A drink scientifically designed to hydrate better than water, so they could sweat more, win more, and change the game forever.
Boom, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Same is lame. Field hockey players have stick. They've got vibe. They've got that tuning fork in their hearts that goes off when a ball thumps the backboard of a goal. Field hockey is for the mold breakers, the convention challengers, the trailblazers, people who think outside the box and come alive inside the circle. Sure, there will always be those who mindlessly take the road more traveled, think the same, do the same, play the same. Field hockey players know that the strength of the pack is the wolf, and that the strength of the wolf is the pack. We know we're different, and we're proud of it. It's how we stand out. It's how we fit in. Like eagles, we soar individually, yet value family and togetherness highly. Join us. We're the minority of millions that get it. There's a stick waiting to be picked up, lifelong friendships to be made, goals to be a part of, victories, defeats, draws, and more. Stories to be told, with you, by you, of you. There's a field hockey team waiting to be called yours. Game on. Dare to differ.
Welcome to the most honest commercial you'll ever see.
And as you can see, me and you are both having trouble starting to talk.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that you're breathing in every day.
Yeah. Like 50% of the air in the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is coming from down here.
Yes, sir.
How's your crawl space looking? You say we're going to be here a while.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get busy.
Get a free and honest inspection with JES Foundation Repair, a groundworks company.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Visit coastguard.com, one of our partners that bring you the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka. Hockey is scoreless between St. Louis and Milan. You see the numbers on the screen there with Brent Underwood. I'm Matt Hatfield. 6-1 in favor of Milan in the corners, Brent, but this has been a bit of a tug of war from the standpoint of neither team has really gotten out and controlled the other one. We just watched earlier the gold medal match that was won 3-1 by Paris over Montreal here. And if you're St. Louis, you have to feel fortunate to not have be trailing in this game given all the corners and chances that Milan had, especially early on at the game start.
Yeah, and I would say while the stats do show one thing, I would say the game has been a lot more even than we saw in that gold medal match. We even saw St. Louis get a last-second corner for an opportunity on cage. They did not capitalize on that chance. However, we still have a whole second half to go.
And now going from right to left in the white unis, it is St. Louis, and going to work, it's Ava Roseborough trying to take matters into her own hands, and then she got stopped as she was approaching the net. You see Casey Timler, the keeper for the team in red, going from left to right. Milan, and Timler, the Hillsborough, New Jersey native, hasn't seen much traffic or action come her way. She basically could be just chilling back there with a sandwich and a drink because there's just been very little that's come her way. That could all change here in this third quarter, as early on we're seeing St. Louis have a little extra I guess you could say juice here to begin this third period, because it feels like they got to halftime, they survived the bullets, and now here they are trying in the third quarter trying to really make Milan press here and see if they can get out of character where they can capitalize on possibly a mistake.
Yeah, if you're Coach Holland at this point, it's good news that your team is able to get out of the second half or get into the second
Mhm.
half with this speed and intensity and get the ball into your attacking 23 when you weren't able to do so much in that first half.
So that one's going to roll out of play here. Another one of our partners is JES Foundation Repair, a groundworks company proudly serving Hampton Roads, Richmond, Northern Virginia, Danville, Roanoke, Charlottesville, Northeast Carolina, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore. Count on their proven history of excellence and reserve your free inspection today. Go to jeswork.com for more. As we see a couple more substitutions here. As this rain is falling here, we'll see if it continues to pick up or slacks off any. Does either team try to get more of a sense of urgency behind that, or see if they can try to use it to their advantage? Or well, what's the feeling as a player out here? You mentioned as a keeper, but what about one of the forwards, the midfielders, the backers? What are they thinking as this is taking place here in a bronze medal match that's scoreless in the third quarter?
I mean, to be a good athlete, you have to be able to survive in all elements. Something my coach at American, Steve Jennings, loves to say that it isn't always going to be 75 and sunny out.
Mhm.
And certainly for them, it might be a little hotter than 75, but it certainly is not sunny. So how are they able to adapt to this weather and be able to, thrive in these conditions better than the other team? So whether it's St. Louis, whether it's Milan, how can you identify what's going on in the weather as, something you cannot control, and instead apply yourself to the things you can control, your effort, your attitude, your communication skills with your teammates? How can you apply yourself to those things that you are able to impact instead of so much the things outside of your control, the weather, the umpires, your coach, your teammates potentially? So it's just that. It's kind of balancing those controllables and uncontrollables.
It's a chance there for Milan with Dickerson and Benecki and company, as they had an opportunity on the move, and now they'll have one here on the side in. And one of the other things we hear all the time too is that people are always watching, especially in this social media age that we all live in now, but your every move. So the college coaches, they're looking at body language to go back to your effort and attitude and things that you touched on there, Bryn. I think they want to see how you deal with adversity or adverse conditions, be it like the weather here, as we see Milan try to get back to a point where they were in the first quarter, where they were getting chance after chance. They had in the first quarter of those 5 penalty corners they had, of their 6 penalty corners they had in the first half, they had 5 of them, only 1 in the second quarter. So there was something from that perspective. St. Louis did better in the second frame than the first. And here in this third quarter, I think they've carried that on over to another level here, as they've had more possession time than, say, Milan has in the other team's 50.
Matt, you're so right on that, especially when it comes to the attitude part. If you're college coaches and also if you're selectors for these tournaments, all of these players are talented. They all have talent. They all have skill. But what really puts you above the rest is your character. How do you treat your teammates? How do you treat the umpires? How do you take adversity that you may be feeling in a game and learn as a young player? That's what's going to lead you to be the best player you can be when you head to college. What a lot of these players are striving for in the future. There's journal, write things down, read books, go to talks about other people's experiences. Character really takes you a long way in any sport.
10 minutes left here in this third quarter. Now we see Clara Kotz with the ball on the run here. Oh, and she goes down, and that's a good stop there defensively for Milan. Didn't catch which player that was, but she gets it right back, however, does Kotz.
Yeah, great effort from Kotz. Coming down from Winnetka, Illinois, a member of Loyola Academy High School. Also plays for Windy City. Same with her teammate, number 38, Ilsa Kerr. Also hails from the same town in Illinois. However, she plays for New Trier High School. But both of them are teammates on Windy City.
Thought they might try to go Genevieve Graham's direction there. This time they go towards Taylor Mitchell. And it's going to be St. Louis back with possession behind Hadley Clough. That one just squirts away from Clara Kotz. Going to land right into the spot where it can be hit by Rachel Stotts. You hear the hollers of see the ball from some of the coaches, fans out there. You love just the enthusiasm, the pure joy that the fans and the coaches and those that are out there. I always love the expression when you ask even an athlete or a proud mom or dad of what, you played the sport. What's it like? We see Kristen Huber out there, go Cam. She says, what's it like that you're watching your son or daughter compete? And it's like, it's even more helpless and hard because I can't go out there and do it. I can't control it, but you just love just their enthusiasm and passion. And you hope it bleeds over to these players in a positive way as we watch the last 8 minutes and change of this third quarter. Still scoreless in this matchup, but here we go on the move. Elizabeth Guy with the lime green headband. And there's a opportunity in the shooter's circle, but couldn't get it through there with Genevieve Graham, who we've called out her name a couple of times in this third quarter. Watch out for her. She's got the frame and athletic ability to do some nice things, not just in this game, but beyond this matchup here today for the bronze medal.
Yeah, Gigi Graham, a member of Norfolk Academy, who were just back-to-back state champions in the state of Virginia. She's also a member of Focus Field Hockey Club. And you know what, Matt? The parents really are the true heroes of these tournaments. As someone who's also a Nexus coach at the U14 level, it changes my confidence to have parents who are willing to support me and provide for their players to be able to come here and allow me as a coach to be able to take ownership and trust that I have, the best intentions for their players at this time in these couple of days. And it really just makes me feel good as a coach when the parents have been so supportive at these tournaments time and time again. And it's so nice to be able to sort of have a hot mic and hear how excited and amplified they are for their children playing at this stage.
Go Lizzie, best defender. Another one of our viewers out there comments. And yeah, you just love the raw emotion that is shown. And you mentioned Gigi Graham. I have to also shout out her coach that just retired this past October. We're talking about Mary Werkheiser. What she did at Norfolk Academy was absolutely remarkable. 508 wins versus 138 losses, a national ranking of #1 in the country, multiple state championships, 24 TCIS championships, 5 VISAA state titles, and just did wonderful things. And so many fantastic players that have come out of that program in recent years here. We've watched them here, part of our broadcasting coverage here from the regional training centers, as well as just some of our podcasting coverage too. So a salute to Mary, who's one of the best in the business and respected not just locally, but statewide and nationally. And you always want to soak up that knowledge from someone that's one of the best. I'm sure it's going to help Gigi and others that have been a part of her programs. So with under 6 minutes to go, it's still scoreless, and we're looking for that second corner of the day for St. Louis. So far, 6 on the board for Milan and Coach Dallin Warner's team. Now trying to spread out the opposition in St. Louis here as on the other side of the 50. And here they are on the move. Another chance to get something working. We just talked about Graham. She had it for a second, and now here it is near post side. A couple nifty passes, and it's going to go off a foot and back to St. Louis. So St. Louis is right now, you hear all the time about being cautious when it's around there, but they're cautiously operating here and getting that clock to tick down to where they could just grab this game in the fourth quarter with one play. Go Addie Martin, says Grayson Obshkidi out there. Pulling for Addie Martin. Addie wearing number 42 for St. Louis in white. And St. Louis trying to get back to operating here, and they do have it. Trying to get into that attacking 23, and this has been a better quarter for them, it feels like, than the last two. So in this match, they've gone through some rough patches, but they've persevered, if you will.
Yeah, it sure feels like it, Matt. There must have been something Georgia Holland had said during halftime, or just a conversation between the players that has really allowed them to step up and get some opportunities down the field in their attacking 23. They're doing a great job of really peppering this Milan defense, really forcing them to have to make some stops in that 23, as we just saw there from Harper Straken. Straken from Houston, Texas, plays for Texas Pride, is also a member of the U-16 junior national team. Again, another, I don't want to toot my own horn. I was also a member of one of my U14 team last year. Just an excellent all-around player. It's been really great to see her evolve from a midfield position that she originally was to a really strong right back in this space. It's really nice to see players as they grow up, you at the young age, everyone wants to score, everyone wants to be a forward. But to see these U16s step up and say, you know what, I'm going to play the defensive position. And you know what, a lot of coaches love to see some strong young defenders. That's something that gets you recruited. If you're able to, put your head down, get some good, strong stick tackles in, it's something that's going to get you seen by both selectors and coaches.
On the move here now, it's a chance for Milan and that one's going to be stopped with the glove, left hand there of the keeper. Nice job there for St. Louis. Believe that is Schmidt still, or did they make a switch to Bridget Young? We'll double check that as we move along here. Jennifer Court saying, go Taylor Mitchell, yellow headband, way to represent Southern Maryland. That's right, representing Maryland. Doing it nicely out here at the Trinity Center in Virginia Beach. There's Campbell Wright. Dumps it off. Chance for Gabelli to do something with it, and we're going to get a corner here. Caitlin Costello saying, go Meatball Young.
Oh, yes. That is for goalkeeper for St. Louis, Bridget Young.
So it's Bridget Young, okay.
Number 126.
Schmidt wasn't earlier, but now it's Bridget, I believe. Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram, she goes by the Meatball Goalkeeper, which is an excellent nickname, as you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I'd come up with a goalkeeper nickname during my time. But you know what? Bridget the Meatball Young. I love it.
Shout out to Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? Shout it out for the folks that they want to follow her. We'll get her followers up.
Oh, yeah,
we're going to get it up.
It is the Meatball, or the underscore Meatball Goalkeeper.
I love it. Beautiful. There's a corner that's not a thing of beauty necessarily. They were hoping it would be for St. Louis. It's going to go the other direction now to Milan. Sarah Burke rooting on Ava Roseborough, number 31. Rip it. Thank you, Sarah, for chiming in on Cova Sports TV. Another one of our proud partners is One Life Fitness. One Inspire Life. They're here to help. Start your new membership today at any one of the 8 convenient locations across Hampton Roads, or go online to onelifefitness.com and claim a free trial pass. One Life Fitness. When you stop in, tell them Matt and Bryn sent you in to One Life, as we've got just a little over a minute to go in this third quarter. Still scoreless, Bryn, as we watch a chance for St. Louis to navigate trouble. I hope it's going to be a corner, as it was Campbell Wright who was able to get the ball and show off her talent for a brief second before the officials said corner coming. So St. Louis now with multiple corners in this period after having only one in the first half.
Yeah, we had a pretty good angle of what the umpire was looking at that situation. Just a pretty strong elbow from that Milan defender going for the defense. You can go in with your stick, but if you bring that elbow up and sort of create a push on that forward, it's going to be a foul every time.
Trying to slice it through, and it's going to be delivered by number 44, May Sauer, and St. Louis breaks the ice. They're on the board with 35 ticks to go in the third. May Sauer with the goal. And I was just getting ready to ask you, Brent, to explain for those out there, and I didn't just yet, because I'm sure there were some viewers wondering if it's still scoreless after 3 and then still scoreless after 4 quarters of play. What happens? Do we have shootouts? What's going to take place? But May Sauer said, you don't have to explain that right now because my team has a 1-0 lead. Now, we will get you to explain as we get ready for the fourth quarter. We're getting ready to hit a break. If this thing is tied after 4 quarters of play. But for that to happen, Milan has to answer the score that just took place after the corner from St. Louis and Sauer. They are closing in on a bronze medal. We'll find out if they get it here. You're watching the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship from the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach, and it's presented by Osaka Hockey. Stay tuned.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out
and taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
A history of winning started with the 65 Gators losing steam, losing sweat.
We've identified the problem. What is the solution?
A drink scientifically designed to hydrate better than water, so they could sweat more, win more, and change the game forever.
Boom, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
All right, you just heard from our friends at John's Tax Service, a proud community supporter of local youth sports, providing tax preparation and retirement planning services. John's Tax Service and JPM Financial, serving all of Hampton Roads for more than 20 years. 3 quarters in the books, and right before the third period came to a close, St. Louis got on the board courtesy of May Sauer with a goal, and it's St. Louis, her team, on top of Milan, the team in the red, St. Louis in the white, by a count of 1-0 as we get ready for the fourth and final quarter of our 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championship, presented by Osaka Hockey and powered by our friends at JES. With Brent Underwood, I am Matt Hatfield, and a pretty entertaining game so far. There's been some similarities, but maybe more differences than what we had in the gold medal match, where it was Paris beating Montreal 3-1. These two teams fell to Paris and Montreal by 2-1 tallies in the semis earlier today, but we kept mentioning it earlier, Brent, that St. Louis was knocking on the door. I should say, Milan was knocking on the door. Eventually, they'll get the chance to strike here. Instead, St. Louis hung around, and now they've got the lead here in this fourth quarter underway.
Yeah, I mean, what a great goal from May Sauer just to finish on that low stick side of the goalkeeper on that corner. She comes from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, home of the UNC Tar Heels, if you are familiar with that town, of course.
For sure.
She also goes to Durham Academy, and is a member of Bull City Field Hockey Club, which, if anyone has been paying attention to National Club Championships, made it to their first ever National Club Championship final in the U19 age group.
About that.
Yeah, so a little bit too old for her at this time, unless she played up, which I'm not sure. But, congrats to them back in June for, trying to take on the WC Eagles in that championship. It didn't quite go in the way you would want to expect against the WC Eagles, but that is beside the fact.
No, and I see even in her 16 games played that are statistically tracked with Durham Academy, 5 goals, 5 assists as an 8th grade. That's not too shabby at all. So bright future ahead for her. Looking like she's going to be named to circle and watch out for, monitor as we move it along here with St. Louis now behind Caroline Almeida, trying to make a pass up. Pedek's going to roll out of play, and we teased it earlier in the third quarter when it was scoreless. I said I was going to bring it up to you. But if this is to get tied up at 1-1, or it could get tied at 2-2, I guess, conceivably, explain for the folks how that works with USA Field Hockey's Junior Nexus, what we would have take place. Shootout situation, or what does it look like?
Yeah, so at Nexus Championships, if it ends up being a tie at the end of regulation, we go into a penalty shootout. And usually that is a best out of 5 competition. At Nexus, it is a best out of 3. So an attacker puts the ball at the 23-meter line. Goalkeeper starts in the goal, and that player has 8 seconds to get the ball into the circle and attempt to score on the goalkeeper, who can do, whatever they can within reason, within the rules of field hockey, to keep the ball out. If that ball goes out over the end line, if it goes outside of the penalty circle, or if there's a foul against the attacker, then it is a no goal. Obviously, if there is a goal, then of course that is a point for the attacker. That's the easy one. If there is a foul against the goalkeeper, an unintentional foul will be a restart of that shootout. A hard intentional foul that, more or less stops a real scoring opportunity will be a penalty stroke. Whoever wins in that best out of 3, of course, would win that shootout. If it is a tie at the end of that, we go to sudden death, 1-on-1. Whoever scores first while the other team doesn't would eventually be the winner.
Taylor Loria getting the swipe here, and a chance for Milan to try to get that equalizing goal. It's going to be deflected off the carom. Here's a chance. Double team coming quickly with Jocelyn Schwartz. She's staying with the ball handler. And it's going to be a corner awarded here with 11:20 to go. So this is going to be a chance for Milan, which didn't get those corners in the third period, to get closer. I want to ask you about that from a playing, now you're coaching too, not just players' perspective, about the shootout situation, because it makes me think of another sport we haven't made a comparison to yet. We've got this corner coming up, and that being Wimbledon, where we just watched, tennis I should say, tennis is a sport, we just watched Wimbledon, where there was a couple of tiebreaker sets on the men's and women's side for Wimbledon, and congrats to Iga Swiatek on the women's side, beating Amanda Anisimova for the women's Wimbledon title, and Yannick Sinner outlasting Carlos Alcaraz for the men's title. But that one's going to sail out of play there on that corner opportunity. So another empty one for Milan. But I love the tiebreakers. And they extended, I think it's from, now I got to look it up just to be sure. I think it's 7 on the Wimbledon, the final step, 10 is the point the match wrapper. What's this doing on 3-5? You like that setup? What's your view of it? Player, coach, does your opinion matter either way or change either way?
I would say best out of 5. I prefer, because it allows for more opportunities on both ends, both player and defender. I feel like 3 might be just a little too absolute sometimes. However, I do like that it's better than best out of 1. I'd rather take a best out of 3 any day over a sudden death.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. Now it's going to be turned back over. We watch with number 39, Clara Kotz for St. Louis. And that one almost popped through. Another couple of chances, and it's going to result in a corner, as Zahara Abraham had some fancy footwork there in front of net to prevent a 2-0 deficit, but it could quickly become 2-0 here. As we watch St. Louis go back to work with another corner. It's going to be delivered in by Rachel Stotts.
Yeah, and as we saw last time, they were able to execute perfectly on that corner opportunity. It's another chance for them to be able to capitalize on it again. It's really up to this defense to be able to step out and smother this play.
They get it in. Oh, that one went right to the facial area. That was a shot by Jocelyn Schwartz. Tough looking.
Yeah, as you can see right now, it looks like the umpire is trying to make the best decision. You could see him communicating with his companion official, who is situated at the 50-meter line for that penalty corner. Really just trying to make sure they're getting the best call on that penalty corner. Looks like they considered that shot too high. So it looks like the sweep, they believed it went directly off of the main shooter at the top of the circle. Hit the right post player just in the mask. Fortunately, that's why they wear those masks. So thankful for her and her face. And since that initial shot was too high on the initial shot, they sent it the other way.
There you see on the move with the lime green headband, 116, Taylor Mitchell. Trying to make something happen. Looked like she was trying to change direction there for Milan. She's staying after defensively, though. Look as she's continuing to harass the ball handler. Doing a nice job of that. It's going to be Lila Ryan. So we're under 8 minutes to go in regulation play. Can Milan get that goal to tie this one up and send us to a shootout? That's the big question. They're hoping for as Mitchell hits it up ahead. That one's going to be tapped at.
Yeah, Lila Ryan, as you just mentioned, the class of 2029. She's also a member of the U-16 junior national team this year. She is out of Factoryville, Pennsylvania, plays for Brave Field Hockey Club. Again, another smaller club. It's nice to see that sort of representation from the smaller clubs at the international level, too, for these junior squads.
As we tick under 7 minutes to play now. St. Louis nursing this 1-goal lead, which they acquired in the closing seconds of the third period, thanks to May Sauer. And you see multiple shirts on that far sideline in red and white battling for the ball. Looking for Ella Arvai. Couldn't get it to her. Now they'll swing at the other side to the near sideline. Taylor Mitchell could be a target here, and they get it to her. Mitchell's on the move now. How can someone get open for her? You know, she can be a playmaker here for them. We were wondering about that for St. Louis earlier in this game. We talked about it in the last game. Who would be that playmaker, Brenton, for Montreal when they were behind 2 and 3 goals against Paris. And there's a goal. We're tied up. Going to be assisted by Mitchell, and we'll see who had the score. I think it's the one with the mouth guard in our screen here. We'll see if we can check that number.
Yeah, once we figure out who she is, I think Mitchell does an excellent job when she enters the circle and that attacking 23. Just does an excellent job of opening up her body towards the direction she's playing the ball into. And what that does is it opens her up to a pass either left or right across her body or just to the side. It makes the defense have to kind of freeze in place and wait for her to make her first step before they can come in and make any sort of tackle, especially on the baseline. It allows for her to either try and take that shot on goal or send across, which she eventually did for that goal.
Yeah, we'll see if we can check it out on the replay again here to see if we can get a clear look at that number. Unfortunately, with the dark numbers and the red jerseys, it's hard to get a good look at who exactly that was that scored it, but we will effort that for you here as it's now tied up. That came right around the 5:55 mark of our game. But I'm like you, I think Mitchell certainly gets a lot of credit. I was just speaking about it, as she could see she's stepping up as a playmaker who's going to get open in a right area and spot. So much can be just location or relocating to a certain spot on the field, right, to get a good look at it with a keeper or just a shot on goal.
Yeah, just understanding how body positioning, especially while you're handling the ball, affects the way a defender might approach or play you in that certain situation is just a great level of game IQ. And I think Mitchell has done a great job throughout this game of setting herself up for success as she's carrying the ball. And of course, as we just saw, leading to that goal.
So we are deadlocked at 1 apiece, which could put the shootout situation into play that we spoke of minutes earlier. We were wondering if it would be a scoreless shootout. Instead, it might be a 1-all shootout.
We still have about 4 minutes to go left in this game, so anything is still possible. 4 minutes is plenty of time for a goal or two to go in. St. Louis really keeping the pressure on right now. It's been definitely a change in pressure, especially from the first quarter, where we saw Milan really have the advantage throughout. St. Louis has done a great job of sort of turning the tides in their favor.
Well, and speaking of which, here's another penalty corner for St. Louis as they're able to draw that. So we'll see if St. Louis can break the tie here.
Corner team, calm under pressure. Calm.
Yeah, in these games, we do have a running clock. Depending on what sort of level of hockey you're playing at, that on penalty corners, the clock might stop. But in high school level and here at the Nexus Championships, we do keep that clock running. So, a running clock might mean a little less time for the other team to score if they potentially score on the score.
Isla Kerr puts it into play, and then the initial shot is deflected upward. And here comes another corner chance. So St. Louis already with more corners in this quarter, more corners in the last quarter than they had in the entire first half.
Indeed, and as I said before, the more time they can take off this clock, if they're able to execute in this play here, that means less time for Milan to be able to get the ball down the field.
Up top, it goes to May Sauer, who had the game's first goal, and that one's going to go out of play right by the USA Field Hockey signage. Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach would like to thank CHKD Sports Medicine Program for providing our certified athletic trainers. CHKD is home to the region's only comprehensive sports medicine program for young athletes. For same-day or next-day appointment availability, call CHKD Sports Medicine at 668-PLAY. That's 668-PLAY, and visit chkd.org for more. Here it is with Milan trying to get going away from it, a chance to get a good shot on goal, and I think you were getting ready to locate that number. We could shout out who scored the first goal for them and possibly had a good look at the second, but our angle turned away too quickly for us to give her a shout out who exactly that was. And I tell you what, if somebody out there watching knows who exactly it is, we could tell you. I think you're pointing in the same direction as me on that one, right? I think Who's got possession now. We just got to see what her number is at this point.
From my eyes, it might be 106 Lydia Brown.
I think that sounds about right. That was going to be my guess. So I think we're on the same page on that. Just a matter of, it's like we're playing, I wouldn't say Where's Waldo, but trying to turn, catch. Yeah, there you go. I Spy is a good one. That's a perfect one. I Spy, who had that. But I think it was Lydia Brown. As we're under a minute to go now. We're still tied at 1 apiece. And guess what? Milan's not thinking about shootouts. They're thinking about winning this thing right here and now. On the move. Can they get it to Brown? That is Brown who had the game's first goal, courtesy of the assist from Mitchell for Milan, that is.
Do you think anyone still reads those I Spy books, Matt?
There's got to be some kids out there somewhere. There's probably a bunch of kids now that are stuck now with the TikToks and the IGs. I have no idea what that we're talking about, but there's got to be a couple of them out there somewhere. Can you have old school kids? I don't think you really can. Oh, nice play there again by Mitchell defensively, as she has been in the way here of St. Louis from getting another shot on goal, and this was just going to roll out towards midfield, and I think they're now playing for the shootout here, which is where we are likely headed. So we will take a quick timeout and come back with the shootout. You won't miss the conclusion here at the 2025 Junior Nexus U-16 Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. Stick around. We'll see who gets the bronze medal between St. Louis and Milan, deadlocked at 1 from Virginia Beach, Virginia, right here on Cova Sports TV.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
And we welcome you back to the continuing coverage of the 2025 U-16 Girls Nexus Championships presented by Osaka Hockey. It's the bronze medal match, which has Milan and St. Louis deadlocked. It's 1 apiece, even though we're now seeing on our scoreboard 0-0. We'll tell you how it got to 1 apiece. With 5 seconds to go in the third quarter, May Sauer scored for St. Louis, who are wearing the white uniforms. You see the camera there showing Don Warner and Milan in the red jerseys, and they scored with about 5:55 to go, courtesy of a transition opportunity with Taylor Mitchell finding Lydia Brown. And my partner, Brent Underwood, I am Matt Hatfield. Brent, this has been an entertaining game here. Bronze medal game after the gold medal matchup featured Paris beating Montreal 3-1, and here we are where it's not the sudden death shootout, but the shootout best of 3 that you touched on earlier.
Yes. And Matt, as you weren't here for the bronze medal games for U14, but that bronze medal game also went to a penalty shootout. So we are 2 for 2 for shootouts in the bronze medal matches.
Okay.
I would say this shootout is kind of a testament to how even this game has been between both teams. We saw Milan sort of take the advantage during the first half of the game, and then St. Louis really bring it back in the second. However, they both scored in the quarters where they seem to have less chances on goal.
And that was on Saturday, where Los Angeles beat Rome, ended up being a final tally official 2-1 in the U14 division. Gold medal was won by Athens 1-0. So here we are in the red. It's going to be Milan here first, and I think that's Brown, Lydia Brown, who's going to try to wiggle one through and does so effectively. So just like that, Milan in the red. They strike first. We'll see if St. Louis can answer. Nicely done.
Yeah, doing a great job of getting close to the goalkeeper, not really allow her to play the ball when she flicked that ball using her back stick.
Now here it is with St. Louis. This is going to be number 39, Clara Kotz. And that one wide of the net. Took a different avenue angle for that one and unsuccessful, but they're not out of it right now. They just need a keeper to step up here and make a stop. Let's see what we've got here for in red, Milan. Looks like that's 114, Isabella Bouillon. Tried to nudge it through, but the keeper did an excellent job there. 125, Caden Schmidt of denying, so it remains just one love in Milan's favor. 1 of 2 on their opportunities. This is the second one coming up for St. Louis. It'll be number 33, Sydney Powell.
Yeah, both goalkeepers doing a good job in those last 2 shootouts of getting their sticks in the way of the attacker from getting that shot on goal.
Here's Powell racing towards the net. And the keeper just totally stoned there. Nice job by Zahara Abraham of just denying.
Yeah, I think right now this is just a great example of the evolution of goalkeeping and how that stick has become so much more prominently used, especially during shootout chances.
All right, so I think we now have Mitchell up, Taylor Mitchell. And got in a tough spot there and didn't get it to go. And that's going to conclude it. And the team in red, Milan, able to celebrate.
Yeah, quick work on that shootout. I think not only some great shots, but also some great goalkeeping we got to see throughout that time as well. Great job with Milan being able to finish on the chances they did have, forcing the goalkeepers to move and really make those saves. And some great goalkeeping on both sides, but especially, of course, to Team Milan, who was able to keep the score low enough for their field players to get that chance.
So that's going to wrap up our broadcast. We want to thank you all for watching. Our entire team, from Kayla Hodge and Seanan Shannon on camera to Jack Lowe, Nick Senti, and the entire crew, my partner Brent Underwood, I'm Matthew Hatfield. We thank you all for watching the Junior Nexus 16U bronze medal match. A winner, Milan, 2-1 over St. Louis. Keep it tuned to USA Field Hockey, usafieldhockey.com, and Cova Sports TV. We say so long from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
From credentials to luggage tags, even time standards tags for competitive swimmers, Bag Tags creates durable and distinct functional sporting events tags that are not only used as a security measure, but are also treasured keepsakes, marking special moments and milestones in an athlete's competitive career. Bag Tag services some of the most notable sporting events across the country. Fully customizable, totally unique, and made in the USA. Visit bagtagsinc.com today.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game!
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow the game.
Grow The game.
Get ready for the concert event of the summer.
On the road again.
Catch Willie Nelson and family. Bob Dylan. Turnpike Troubadours. And more at the Outlaw Music Festival's 10th anniversary tour, July 29th. Veterans United Home Loans Amphitheater at Virginia Beach. Get access to preferred tickets with your city card. For tickets and more, go to livenation.com and outlawmusicfestival.com.
Same as lame. Field hockey players have stick. They've got vibe. They've got that tuning fork in their hearts that goes off when a ball thumps the backboard of a goal. Field hockey is for the mold breakers, the convention challengers, the trailblazers, people who think outside the box and come alive inside the circle. Sure, there will always be those who mindlessly take the road more traveled, think the same, do the same, play the same. Field hockey players know that the strength of the pack is the wolf, and that the strength of the wolf is the pack. We know we're different, and we're proud of it. It's how we stand out. It's how we fit in. Like eagles, we soar individually, yet value family and togetherness highly. Join us. We're the minority of millions that get it. There's a stick waiting to be picked up, lifelong friendships to be made, goals to be a part of, victories, defeats, draws, and more. Stories to be told with you, by you, of you. There's a field hockey team waiting to be called yours. Game on. Dare to differ.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy it in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Okay. And she's the one, by the way, who, I don't know